FanDuel's Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup is presented by Windstar Farm and by Phasic Tipton.
Day 5 of the Breakfast Show, and we have a lot in front of us. Aiden's Army hits the racetrack. We're going to revisit Sovereignty's work yesterday, and the breakfast marquee is officially open. So grab a donut, a Danish, or a breakfast churro. Today we're getting our first look of the Euros. It's breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Welcome back to beautiful Del Mar. A live look as the sun rises over day 5 of Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. You can see horses making their way around the paddock. Schooling is in session, and we've got a lot to talk about. Here's a look at Sovereignty yesterday. We'll revisit the Kentucky Derby winner as we'll check out how he's doing the day after his final prep for the Breeders' Cup Classic. We also have a good look at Rebel's Romance as the defending Breeders' Cup Turf champion trying to pull off the improbable and win 3 Longines Breeders' Cup Turfs. And Aiden's Army will be out on the racetrack for the first time today as well, a sight we all look forward to. Welcome back here on the set with Joe Talamo and Simon Bray. We've got 4 days in the books. We've got 3 days of the breakfast show to go. We drew post positions yesterday. A lot to talk about and even more to look at. We're going to have Saffie Joseph's horses hitting the track. The Euros get out of quarantine and come out and stretch their legs. Simon, let's start with you. What are you looking forward to most today?
I'm really looking forward to seeing the Europeans come out here, along with Aiden O'Brien's contingent headlined by Precise, who's probably going to be one of the shortest price favorites over the whole weekend in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. She looks an absolute standout in there. And you touched on Rebel's Romance in the Open. A winner of over $14 million, 20 races, looking for 3 Breeders' Cup Turf wins. Just a remarkable performance from this 7-year-old girlie.
Joe Talamo, you're on deck. What's catching your attention most right now?
I'm looking forward to the Euros too, but really just in general, how everyone's doing. I know we've seen a lot of works this week, and I know that we're only 3-4 days out from Friday and Saturday, so just kind of seeing how everyone's energy is. We're going to see a few of them jog and then gallop in the next day or two, so just to see how everyone comes out of those works.
We've got a lot to look forward to, but everything's confined here to Del Mar. We're all in town. Let's take a look at the reporters that are going to be helping us out today. There's Michelle Yu. She's getting attacked by a goat. We have Andy Biancone. Caton Bradar has made it in from Kentucky. Scott landed safely last night. He came to my room for a midnight snack. He's joined by his good friend Rishi Prasad. But let's start with Andy Biancone.
Mike, Simon, Joe, good morning. Obviously, Sovereignty put in his final preparation yesterday. It was just an easy half-a-mile work in 49 and change, and he just walked this morning. He walked at his usual training time. I caught a glimpse of him walking around, and he seemed to have great energy. He was dragging his hot walker around, and as they put him in his stall, he jumped right on his hay and is just relaxing now. So far, so good here at the Bill Mott Barn, but we have lots of new horses who just shipped in. A lot of horses from Kentucky. Brendan Walsh shipped in, Brad Cox shipped in, and standing by with the Brad Cox horses is Caton Bradar.
Yeah, Andy, and apparently my trip from Louisville was a little less eventful than the horses. Stellifi for Brad Cox was part of the group of the last Kentucky horses to leave yesterday and arrive here. Stellifi's already been out on the track, but there was a little bit of a delay in Cincinnati where the horses connected after shipping from Louisville. So they got here a little bit later. It didn't stop Stellifi, though, from going out to the track already and putting in a nice routine once around the track, looking sensational. It's a family affair with George Messina, his son Trace, assistant to Brad Cox, his wife, the entire family out here to see the workout. And I'm eager to see the rest of the horses that have arrived as well. But another recent arrival, Michelle, I know you're like me, very happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here, Kate, and Mickey is happy that I'm here also. You might not have been able to tell from earlier when he was trying to headbutt me, but that is how a goat says I love you. So I have traded in Jeff Mullen's dog for Sheree Dvau's goat, Mickey, and the goat is actually the pet of She Feels Pretty, who we're standing by right now. She Feels Pretty, going to be making her first appearance on the track today. They're scheduled to go out after the break, so we're going to hang out here and see how much info Mickey is going to be able to give us about this mare.
Michelle, we're back here at the quarantine barn as the team is back together. Scott and Rish Hour.
I was a bit lonely yesterday.
2025.
Yeah, my favorite film. Two of my favorite actors.
We're waiting for Aiden's Army to come out here later on this morning. Just a few seconds ago, the army of riders just walked past us. We talk about these horses and assembling them, but the team that it takes to get these horses out in the fashion in which they do takes a lot of effort.
Indeed, and the riders actually came with the horses on Saturday. Lucky enough to catch up with Rachel Richardson yesterday. She was telling me about some of the horses that had travelled over, in particular Precise, who's already been spoken about on the show, although she drew a very bad post position right on the outside of her field in juvenile fillies turf. She's probably got the class to beat them. Earlier this year, Aiden actually revealed, Scott, that he gets up every morning and he does a workout around 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the only opportunity he gets to get some exercise in. So I presume when he arrives at the track, he'd have done his hour on the treadmill or whatever it is he does, maybe lift a few weights. Might learn a thing or two from the great man.
Did you run into him at 4 a.m. when you hit the gym?
Just going a little bit later, I think, today, maybe.
Breakfast marquee first, then the gym?
I need to fuel up.
That's the routine. We know it. We know the routine, gentlemen.
You know what, Mike? He's got such a bad back. It's serious. He has some lower disc issues, Aiden O'Brien, in this interview that I heard. And he said if he doesn't work out at 3:30 or 3 in the morning before his day starts, a couple of days he doesn't do it. He's absolutely crippled.
That makes sense why he was so stiff and jazzercise this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to Aiden O'Brien and Aiden's Army coming out onto the racetrack. We've got a lot to look forward to today, as I said before. Journalism was out on the racetrack earlier this morning as well, as he put it in his final prep a couple days ago. And this was earlier today under the cover of darkness before the renovation break. And there is your Preakness winner, your Haskell winner. 10-1 on the morning line from David Aragona for journalism. That just gives you an idea of how deep this Breeders' Cup Classic is.
Oh, it's how about Sierra Leone is 8-1, and he won this race last year. Yeah, it's crazy, and he looks really, really good right here. So he's coming. The next few days, nothing's going to be crazy with him. All of his workouts all done, all the preparations are done. You just want to keep him as happy as possible, and he looks really, really happy right now. You could see energy-wise, this is exactly what you want to look for. How his energy level is. The rider is just really trying to keep him at a really slow cadence and go around there just at a modest clip.
Yeah, I mean, you could take this video and take a snapshot, of the last 6 months, him galloping before a race, and they would all look the same. He's never changed, really, throughout the whole year. He drew post position 9 yesterday, which I think is a good draw for him, wouldn't you say, Joe?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I mean, poor Fierceness. 2 times he got the rail Pacific Classic, and I will say this, the one, if you want to make a positive for him, at least he can win from that post.
Right.
If there is a positive from the one hole.
If you guys watched the draw show last night, I've never seen a more consequential draw for any event, let alone the Breeders' Cup. How many horses drew the rail? How many horses drew the outside that are in the top 1 or 2 wagering selections? I mean, there is a serious post-position element to how you analyze these races now, and it's mind-boggling. Copian on the rail, Notorious on the rail. Journalism, of course, on the rail. You had a couple of Aiden short price horses drawn the far outside. I mean, it was as consequential a post position draw we've ever seen as we take a look at how the field is going to line up in this year's Longines Breeders' Cup Classic.
You couldn't have scripted for Fierceness. I mean,
no.
With all the storylines coming into the Classic, this is billed as one of the best classics in the last 20 years. I mean, this is like, if you made this a movie, I mean, you got the quote from Pletcher in the morning. What do you want from the draw? I want any post but bar the one hole.
Right.
I mean, it's like the Dodger game last night.
You can't make that up.
It's almost like a script that's a movie script. It's too good to be true. And yeah, I mean,
too bad to be true for the connection to Fierceness.
The temporary rail is a lot longer. We touched on that yesterday. That could help. Todd Pletcher's going to go back there and talk to the starter. And he said at the draw, he's been there and done it, kind of what you said. But
I will say this about the way this lined up, and I kind of thought about it. He's next to Baeza, who's not quick out of the gate, so he should be clear sailing. He's fast enough to find a position. Yeah, he just hold the rail, but but he's in the hands of an expert in Johnny V. Fierceness has been, a speedy horse throughout his entire career. I don't know that it's going to be that much of a problem.
No, I don't think so either. Not only that, Johnny Velasquez obviously knows Fierceness really well, and coming out of the Pacific Classic, he's going to be ready if anything kind of, if he feels or senses anything. But I would have to think with that rail being a lot longer and him just knowing him and hoping that he doesn't do that again, he should be fine.
A lot of speed inside of Sovereignty. I think they got a good draw. You've got Contrary Thinking. He's the pacemaker. You've got Nevada Beach should be laying close, and Fierceness. So I think for Sovereignty, the favorite, that's a good situation. And obviously Contrary Thinking is going to go, and they're going to try and, stretch the field out. I
mean, honestly, besides Fierceness drawing the rail, I kind of feel like everyone drew pretty good because you have a long way to go before the first turn, a little more than a quarter mile. So mind frame journalism, I think the 8 and 9 is not going to hurt them at all. They'll be able to kind of get in there. And then even Sierra Leone in the 7, he's going to be coming from behind, so he's just going to try and tuck in and get a good ground-saving trip.
Chad was asked yesterday about the pacemaker situation, Mike, and I thought the response was a good response. He said, look, people do it all over the world. I've done it before. I've done it in turf races, and my pacemaker's actually won. And he reeled off a couple of examples.
No, it's happened.
Yeah. It's not going to happen in this situation, but he said...
Okay, time to bet.
But he did say, what people are missing here, it's going to help out a lot of the other runners in the field. Because it's going to stretch the field out.
Right.
And open up the field, give some more running lanes maybe where the field's not so compact. So it's going to help 2 or 3 of the other horses in the race.
And you made a really good point, too, yesterday. If he opens up, say, 5, 6, 7, 10 lengths, whoever's second and third is going to ride that accordingly. Yeah. Whoever's second, they're going to,
ride the race as if he's not there.
Exactly. So even though a rabbit is in a race, sometimes it really doesn't even matter.
Correct. Well, will it matter for Nevada Beach? That's what I want to know, because Nevada Beach is a horse that we wouldn't really give much credence to if it wasn't Bob Baffert, if it wasn't in the hands of Mike Smith. The human element, I think, is a big part of your assessment of Nevada Beach, because he's a late developer. He's short on accomplishment, but he's getting good at the right time, and we've seen Bob do this before.
Well, I think what would happen, so Contrary Thinking is in the number 4 post. Nevada Beach is right to his inside. If Contrary Thinking just goes with which we're expecting, I think Mike Smith and Nevada Beach are going to stay in that second position, just right off of him.
Do exactly what he did in the Goodwood last time out, just sit second. I mean, the beauty about the rabbit, what they're going to do. There's no guessing who's going to the lead.
As we take a look at Nevada Beach, this was earlier today as well. I think of all the horses in this field, he is the biggest wild card, because is anybody really going to be surprised if Baffert pulls a 20-1 upset in the Breeders' Cup Classic? Probably not.
No.
But before the race, we think, oh, he's running into the toughest classic field we've ever seen, and we may very well be right about that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, no doubt about it, he is. And I think the question mark, too, he's so lightly raced. He's only raced 4 times as a 3-year-old, but saying that, the one positive, he has improved in each and every single start. And you could say, yeah, he's running against olders, but he beat older horses last time in a Goodwood, even though, again, it wasn't the toughest Goodwood we've seen in the world, but he beat Full Serrano, who won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile last year.
And he's not a typical Baffert horse, and by that I mean, he's a lazy workhorse. He's not flashy in the morning, although he can go around there. He debuted at a mile. I mean, distance is going to be his friend. The 1.25 miles is not going to be a question mark for him.
So now what are we seeing here with the head really low like that?
They just got his head bowed, which I kind of like. I
do too.
Yeah. For a couple of things. When I was training, I used to like that. Horses move a little better. I mentioned earlier in the week, they use their hind. When their heads are bowed like that, they tend to... There you go. P-Val, good morning.
What's up, bro?
Behind us. When horses bow their head, they push off with their back rather than pull with their front. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They use the hind end a little more. And also, from a rider's standpoint, Joe can touch on this, it's a lot better for you, right? Rather than a horse having their head up, you have more control when a horse's head is bowed.
Oh, yeah. When a horse has their head up, it's so hard to control them, because they really, the more you pull and they keep their head up, they just...
You've got no leverage.
Yeah.
The reins are slack. There's nothing to pull against.
But when their head's down like that, you have so much more control. They can kind of come back to you a lot more. If you ever see a horse trying to run off in the morning, most of the time, I would say 90-95%, their head is just straight up in the air and just uncontrollable.
But Nevada Beach for Bob Baffert, I mean, it's a tall task, but in 4 starts, he's shown big flashes of talent. Right now, we're going to check in with Andy Biancona. Is she with Ned Toffey or Ted Noffey? I can't remember.
We have Ted Noffey here cooling out from his morning training. And as you guys know, he has a very kind disposition. This is a horse who's always very relaxed, always pretty chill. But yesterday afternoon, I was out here walking Lenny Lou, and he was getting walked at the same time. And oh my goodness, he was so fresh. He had just gotten clipped, so maybe was just feeling himself with the cooler air. But he was full of energy and full of life, and it was really good to see that side of Ted Noffey. But you can see him checking out the camera now. He certainly loves it, and just a fun horse to watch overall.
Oh, he's very fun to watch. 3 for 3 perfect in his career. He stretched out beautifully in the Breeders' Futurity, and he looks like one of Todd Pletcher's better chances to win.
So he drew the post 8 of 8. I think that's going to be absolutely perfect for him. He's actually drawn outside in all 3 of his starts. First start was 8, second was 7, third was 6, and I could see him kind of having a similar trip, just kind of break really sharp, Johnny V, kind of have that stalking trip, and I really think that post is perfect.
I think it's absolutely perfect for him, no question about it. Yep, stays out of trouble that way.
Intrepido drew the rail in there. I thought that was another horse who might be compromised by the draw, because I don't know exactly how he gets that trip from inside there. We've got a work from Banishing, one of the sprinters who is hoping to upset Straight No Chaser, the defending champ in that division. Banishing, of course, is getting his final gallops in preparation like everybody else. There's a look at him on the racetrack.
I mean, where'd you start with Banishing? What a horse. I mean, a 5-year-old gelding. He is not, I mean, I think they only list like 10 or 13 races on the past performance, and he hasn't had a break going back to 23rd of November last year. When he won the Charlestown Classic, they interviewed David Jacobs after the race. They said, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to run in the Jockey Club next week. He elected to bypass that. He went to the Lucas Classic, finished 3rd, but yeah, I mean, what do you do? Look at him here, though. This is kind of the polar opposite to what we've just seen with Nevada Beach.
I was going to say, that's exactly right. See, he's got his head. He's actually wanting to lean out a little bit.
Yeah.
You could see his body language. He's got his head cocked a little bit, but it doesn't seem like he's, absolutely flying. You could see the time, 37-3, which is pretty typical of David Jacobson. Most of the time, he works his horses either 3/8 of a mile or a half a mile, nothing crazy. But yeah, you could see him there. He's got his head cocked out a little bit. I think that's pretty normal for him. But I don't know. Have we ever seen a Charlestown Classic winner go back to the sprint before?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's run well around one turn. He was second in the Churchill Downs.
He's run exceptionally well around one turn.
He can run anywhere.
He split mind frame and Nisos.
Yeah, you look at his sprints. It's ultra impressive. There are very few horses you'll see that are equally adept going a rod of ground and sprinting, but he's one of those unicorns. And he's got that arrow in his quiver that could win the sprint. He's run a -2 on the sheets. He's run a -3/4, a -1. Those would absolutely put him right there in this event.
I think he's galloped. I think he's got his halter on, which you don't usually see. His head collar, right?
Does,
do you see?
Yeah.
So there's something, he must do that every morning, get out like that, because he had his head cocked and the rider seemed to know what to do, but you don't usually see that.
There's a look at Banishing from moments ago. Let's check in with Scott and Rishi.
Well, Michael, we're out here at the chute, and we've been observing Kadm, a recent graded stakes winner at Keeneland just a couple of weeks back, and he's been here in the United States for a while. He's not one of the horses that had to quarantine like everybody else did that came in, but he's a 9-year-old who's done a lot of good. And Rich, looking at his recent form, his best races have come here in the United States.
Well, it's extraordinary because it looked as if he was maybe past his best, as you say, 9 years old. And then he came to Kentucky Downs. He ran a really good race there and then followed up with that win at Keeneland. In the past, he's been capable of some high-class form. He's a Group 1 winner at Royal Ascot. Admittedly, he was 80-1 that day. You go further back in his career, he's always been a talented sprinter. But it appeared as if his best was gone. And then suddenly he's rejuvenated stateside. And, of course, he's going to partner up with Frank Dettori, who also seems to be quite rejuvenated over here as well.
Well, Kadm, 9-year-old son of Dark Angel, he's made over $2.6 million. He spent a lot of time back here in the chute, and they were waiting for their opportunity to go out onto the course proper, and he's just trotting along with the pony. But this 9-year-old gelding, as we've talked about, has sensational form here in the United States with that run not only at Kentucky Downs this year, but going back to last year. And one of the things, too, about in recent years, and I feel like it's rinse and repeat in this discussion with the sprint division overseas is that it's been a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years since there's been like the consistent star in the Group 1 sprint races.
I think maybe Batash was the last of the dominant sprinters in the UK. Prior to that, Muhara, who would be about, 10 years ago. Batash, 4 or 5 years ago, as you're rightly pointing out. There hasn't been a horse that has really dominated either over 5 or 6 furlongs. It's been shared up. All the big prizes have been shared up by all the decent sprinters we have in Europe. And it's made it quite competitive, but we would like to see that superstar re-emerge one day.
5/8 of a mile, though, 5 furlongs versus 6 at Kentucky Downs, 5.5 at Keeneland. It's a long stretch at Keeneland to work with on the turf course. It's a much different scenario here at Del Mar.
Yeah.
To me, it works against him, a horse like this.
In fairness to him, he's quite versatile. If you look through his career, he won at Goodwood over 5 furlongs, which is a very quick 5 furlongs, one of the quickest in the UK. It's a downhill run, so you've got to be sharp. And he won there at the Glorious meeting a few years ago. And he's won over 6 furlongs at Ascot. And Ascot's a stiff, as you know, a stiff climb all the way. So he's shown his versatility. I think that the thing with Kadm at 9 years old, it's just a question of what sort of mood he's in. And clearly, while he's stateside, he's in a very good mood.
And rightfully so. He's been in a very good mood out here on the track as he is continuing his light training on the main track. So Kadm, 10-1 on the morning line. Michael, he draws post position number 4. He's got Frankie signed on once again. We'll keep an eye on him as he continues to train in the morning hours here at Del Mar.
I mean, on the one hand, he's an old man like me, and I get grumpy all the time. On the other, we're in Del Mar, so how couldn't he be in a good mood, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he is sharp right now. He's coming off a win in the Woodford, and it sure doesn't look like a 9-year-old, huh, Simon?
God damn, he looks good.
Oh my! He's gonna. He got one compliment on the one funny line. Maybe he's just gonna
He
keep.
teed me up. He teed me up. I'm just helping my partner out here.
All right. I'll allow it. Let's go to Kate and Bradar.
Well, earlier I mentioned it's a family affair surrounding Stellifi, the Brad Cox runner who just arrived yesterday. George Messina's son, Trace, is doing the work right now on the walking ring. This is third generation of trainers that are involved in this whole. Talk a little about what this experience is like for you to be here at the Breeders' Cup.
Oh, to go from running at Old Jefferson Downs in Kenner, Louisiana, and training on a little dirt track in Bay St. Louis by Trace's grandfather, Willis, to being here at the Breeders' Cup with a horse that we own. You know, we've attended the Breeders' Cup, but to have a horse that we own is just, it's unreal. It's surreal. It really is.
So what are you seeing from Stellifi? I thought she looked fantastic.
She's been getting better and better and better. She's got so much confidence in herself. We have a lot of confidence in her. She traveled well. I was here last night when she got off the van. She looked like $1 million. This morning she's full of energy. We're looking for a nice, strong run from her.
Well, I know your eye as a horseman, but what about your eye as a handicapper? And as far as how the race shapes up, Stellifi's game is to go to the front. Do you see more speed this time?
Well, we drew the 2-hole, right? And so you got to make sure you get your position at the 2-hole. I feel confident she can stalk. I mean, she was in the second position, I think 3 races back, and she was fine stalking. She doesn't have to be on the lead. But if nobody else goes, she'll take the lead, you know.
How many people will be here from your camp?
I have, I think I have 30 credentials coming in. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
It is a wild experience. I've watched this group as they celebrate and watch the victories, and certainly hard-earned path, but well-deserved.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Very excited.
As George mentioned to me, 3 generations of horsemanship coming here, but this is the first horse to take him to the big game and outside of New Orleans.
Yeah, let me know if he has a cancellation. My brother Paul needs a credential, too. Stellifi out on the racetrack right now. This was earlier today, but we're getting a look at it right now, and she looks great.
She does. She's a filly. That's another one. 6 career starts, has improved every single time, and I think she couldn't have drew any better. Post 2 out of a big field like that. They're going a 1 3/8 here at Del Mar. That turn comes up very quick, Simon, so if you draw inside, that's definitely a huge advantage.
Yeah, well, especially with her speed that she's shown at these distance races. I mean, she has just been a sensation since she got back to Kentucky in the spring. She was breaking a maiden 4 starts ago, and now in the most recent race, she won a Grade 3. Beautiful filly, pretty elegant-looking filly. Kind of got a classic look to her head bow, just bouncing over the ground. She's another one that does everything right and look tremendous.
Stellifi for Brad Cox. Let's get to the turf course. Simon's favorite horse, the old 9-year-old.
There he is.
There he is.
Getting a feel for it.
He looks good. I mean, we've got some veteran horses here between Rebel's Romance at the age of 9, coming from Europe. This horse, excuse me, at 7. This horse at the age of 9. I mean, that's a good representation for the older crew here. And Kadm, yep, just getting a feel for the turf course. They're going to stay way to the outside, of course. They've got to protect that inner portion for the races.
He's another one, too, I think, Drew Good. Post 4 out of a big field like that, and Frankie obviously knows him very well. I would imagine he'll, obviously try and break sharp on 5/8 and then tuck in, try and be probably first, second flight.
Yeah, Kadm at the age of 9. I mean, we're making a lot out of his age, but some horses, they just thrive with training and they thrive with racing. And the older they get, the happier they get doing their job.
Yeah, and some horses just love to run, too. And I think what keeps them going so far, too, they're not training them hard every day. He's just letting them kind of do his thing. And you could see him out there. I don't think he could look any happier.
No, he looks tremendous. I mean, I know he's 9 now, but I mean, look at his form. I would keep him in the U.S. Look at his races in the U.S. compared to in Europe lately.
Yeah.
I mean, they're by far his best races, going back to the race at Kentucky Downs last year when he was 2nd.
So there's a look at Kadm on the turf course right now as the sun is rising here at Del Mar. Let's go to Michelle Yu.
I really love when we can bring stories on the breakfast show full circle. So earlier this week, we talked to Liberato Barosio, and he said that the reason he ran Lovesick Blues was because he got advice from Don Chatlis. I found Don Chatlis, who won the Breeders' Cup 23 years ago?
2004. Yeah, 21 years
ago. Okay, close. With Singletary, the race that brought the house down. What do you want to do first? Talk about your advice or remember that day?
Well, that day has been rehashed over and over. That video on TVG sometimes still shows, which I can't believe, but... No, I'm happy for my man Lee that he's got one in the Breeders' Cup.
So did he call you, or was that unsolicited advice?
No, we talk almost every day. I mean, he's a good friend of mine, and he was going back and looked. He went back and he did the work himself. He went back and looked and saw that I ran Singletary 3 weeks before the Breeders' Cup that year that we won, and he was asking me, how did that work? And I said, well, I hadn't run since the Shoemaker at Hollywood Park in May. I said, so we didn't come down here to Del Mar because Hollywood stayed open that summer. I said, it was too long of a gap to go straight into the Breeders' Cup off of that race. So I ran in the Oak Tree Mile and really didn't care about that race, which it's sad. We weren't concerned with winning that race. We were just trying to get ready in 3 weeks. And so he said, well, what do you think about my horse? And I said, well, sprinters, that's a long gap for a sprinter. You're going to have, especially one that comes from behind, because you're going to have him keyed up. He's going to want to be too close. I said, if you could get one in him, if you think the horse is smart enough that he'll sit for Giovanni in the prep race and finish, then you'll be in good shape. One work and you go. And they worked. It was almost a mirror image of Singletary's race. Coming flying. I finished 3rd beating the head. He gave us 2nd beating the nose. So I'm hoping it works out for him. It's all great advice if it works out. It's terrible advice if the horse runs no good.
Does it feel kind of nice to flex your trainer muscle?
Him and I have been friends for so long. He's been an owner, and then he started training on his own. So we've bounced ideas off each other, years and years. So it's not new.
I love this, by the way. Chili just pans over. Will Walden is out here hot walking his own horse. Did he not bring someone to walk? Don, can't you help?
No, he's the hot walker's here taking care of this one.
So Will's out here walking him. We just came and gave him a little drink of water. I love that hands-on trainership. So appreciate the time, and the memory of Singletary lives on with all of us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, Michelle, I'm with Chad Summers, who's watching Banishing get a bath after a workout this morning. Chad, tell me about the work.
I just wanted to open up his lungs a little bit, cutting back to the 3/4 distance. Just went 3/8 from the quarter pole, nice and easy. Angel Moreno, his regular rider, was on him. He did it super. We broke up in 13-3. I got 38-1 on my watch. The clockers at 37-3, but just what he wanted. No gallop out after that. He's good to go.
So Banishing is a horse who has been here for a little bit of time, but is relatively new for you. How do you assess a horse like this and just talk about kind of taking over going into the Breeders' Cup?
Don't change anything. Look, I mean, just a little bit of a licensing issue with David, but he's done a great job since he's got this horse. The horse made more than $1 million for him. I mean, Tyler Gaffleon's going to ride him in the race. He knows him so well. The people that know anything about the rags and sheets, he's had threes the 2 times he ran 6 furlongs, 6.5 furlongs. So, cutting back from the 1 1/8 to the 3/4, we feel like is within his scope. And look, he's a happy horse. He's fit really, really well into David's program. David doesn't train very hard, and we just kind of mimic his training over here. That's all.
Yeah, and for kind of a war horse, he really looks sensational.
Yeah, no, he's shipped over well. He's taken everything in stride. Just wanted to give him just a little bit of air into his lungs today, and I think mission accomplished. And hopefully, if he runs well, we can get Godolphin Breeder of the Year.
All right, switching gears to the distaff and Dry Powder, your filly out early this morning, coming off a couple of really very nice races, but obviously has to step it up a little bit for the Breeders' Cup. But what are you seeing in her now?
She's coming into the race the right way. Look, I mean, she's going to be better as a 4-year-old, but we feel like, she's taken the necessary steps that brought her here. Obviously, a lot of confidence and thanks to their ownership and Gold Square, and now Gold, to put up the $60,000 to come here. I mean, you gotta run well, otherwise you don't get that money back. So we're confident that she's going to run her best race for her career, and she's going to need to. But you look at the morning line, you see, Click It's at 10-1 and Scottish Lash is at 12-1, and we got beat a nose and beat the other one 2 out of 3 times. So maybe just a little bit disrespected on the morning line, but we'll find out on Saturday.
Is she part of the early pace, Dry Powder?
Well, nobody's faster than Bob Baffert, right? We know that. So, look, we'll let Bob will do it, and we'll just enjoy the sights until it's time.
Fair enough. Best of luck with both horses, and thank you for your time.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Chad Summers with the Dry Powder in the distaff and Banishing, enjoying his bath right now.
Chad Summers, very knowledgeable horseman, and he doesn't get these giant stables and these big swaths of horses, but when he gets a good one, he absolutely gets the most out of them, and he can succeed on the biggest stage.
Yeah, mind your biscuits.
The saying is, right? Mind your biscuits and life will be gravy.
I like that, Mike.
Yeah.
When'd you come up with that?
I didn't. Chad did. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're getting closer to Aiden's Army making his way out onto the racetrack. We'll have more on breakfast from the Breeders' Cup. By the way, excellent cappuccino there. Had one yesterday. Fantastic.
Had a flat white. That was pretty good, too.
Okay, we're going to try and figure out the difference between a flat white and a latte.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Elegance is an attitude.
Calling all!
Calling all!
Calling all! Trillionaires!
Calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires.
Come and join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with a weekly bonus pack, our thrills are filled up to the brim. Can you thrill me?
Yeah, because it's will be. Like the most amount of pure glee that ya
Ever gonna get from rewards that start day one. So we're
Calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all. Calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all.
Calling all trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least consulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket? No, but we do make them work. Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.
A quarter of a mile between Cigar and a perfect season, coming down to the last furlong with a 2.5 length lead, and Jerry Bailey calls on Cigar for everything he has. The carrier is awakening second, on the inside unaccounted for, on the outside Solo the Manor, and here he is, the unconquerable, invincible, unbeatable Cigar!
Cigar, one of the greats in this sport, and he was expertly handled by Bill Mott and his trusty assistant, Simon Bray. A fantastic moment in the Breeders' Cup Classic and one of the great Tom Durkin race calls. It begs the conversation. I mean, that's the beauty of this sport. We're always comparing. It's like baseball. You're comparing eras, horses, races. Let's go back in time. Simon, I think I know what your answer is, but what's your favorite Breeders' Cup race of all time?
You just saw it there. And it's more of an emotional one because I was attached to that horse. And, you know, what a lot of people don't understand, he had never been on a wet racetrack. And the anxiety and the nervousness, there was so much rain 24 hours before the Belmont Park. Our barn flooded out. Bill's barn flooded out. We had almost a foot of water in the barn that morning. I'll never forget it. And he's like, you know, he was stressed out. Took him to the training track, wanted him to get a feel of the wet track in the morning. So nobody knew, and you saw some great performances. Inside Information had the largest winning margin on the same day. She won by 13 lengths on that sloppy racetrack. So it just, for us within the barn and the operation, I mean, it was so rewarding that he could overcome that wet track and win like he did.
FanDuel Racing going to post that. We already did, but they're going to retweet it in a moment. You can weigh in, and we'll put your answers on the show later today. What was your favorite Breeders' Cup moment? We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more action here from the breakfast shows at beautiful Del Mar as we gear up for Breeders' Cup 2025.
He's inside the 20. End zone. Touchdown.
The stars are aligning.
Patriot Spirit is almost there. Patriot Spirit wins the Mossberg.
Mindframe has taken charge. It's Mindframe's Foster. Pinup Betty comes on to grab the lead, and Pinup Betty, the winner.
Constitution is establishing himself as a founding father with exciting young sons at stud. Constitution, standing at Windstar Farm.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Douglas trusts Prevagen for his brain, and this is his story.
I'm Douglas, and I'm from Chicago. I was looking for something specifically for my brain. That's when I chose Prevagen, and the confidence I've received from Prevagen allows me to continue to do those things that I love. I have been taking Prevagen for more than 9 years, and it really works for me.
Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. With over 72 million in progeny winnings on dirt and turf, our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
A John Deere 3 Series tractor lets you tackle those bigger jobs with simple, intuitive controls that put the power in your hands and quick connect solutions to swap implements quickly with ease. From rotary cutter to rotary tiller to front loader. Take on all your property's biggest challenges. You just have to get in the seat. John Deere is the official partner of the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Goldakova's unwinding her run in the centre of the track. Goldakova's let loose, she's flying. Sydney's Candy, the usual QT's in there as well. But Goldakova's catching with each and every stride. Are we to see history this afternoon? Here's Bucko Boy late, but no, Goldakova, a true champion. 3 Breeders' Cup wins.
She was brilliant. Hall of Fame caliber horse, 3 Breeders' Cup miles. No one's ever done it like that. She was one of the best we've ever seen look through a bridle.
Yeah, she was so exciting. I remember, I think it was either her first or second Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita, and the turn of foot she would have when she would just find room, it was so fun to watch.
And the story behind the trainer, Freddie Head, who had rode Miesk. He was the jockey for Miesk. He ends up training Goldikova. I mean, what are the chances of that happening? Slim and none, pretty much.
So 5 runners have won multiple Breeders' Cup miles over the year. We want you to sound off. These multi-Breeders' Cup mile winners were all brilliant, but which one was the best? Miesk, Lure, De Haas, Wise Dan, or Goldikova? And we've already got a bunch of replies to this. He's some of my absolute favorites for Kentucky girl Maggie. But on this list, I have to give a tip of the hat to Goldikova. How about Steve? Wise Dan has always been one of my favorites. And I feel like Wise Dan could have won a Breeders' Cup Classic, too. He was that good on dirt. It's like choosing a favorite child. I can't do it. That's easy. My favorite child's Luke. Wise people choose Wise Dan. Always brought it. Grade 1 wins on multiple surfaces. Okay, those are the responses right now, but get into the conversation. Right now, we're going to check in with Michelle Yu.
Okay. I found Michael McCarthy. Michael McCarthy. Good morning, sunshine. Are you so excited to see me? Hi. What are you doing?
I am getting my verification code so I can go and have breakfast over in the marquee after I'm done.
Do you need a golf cart ride over there, or do you bring your bike?
I've got my own golf cart.
Why don't you bring a golf cart during summer? Because during summer you ride a bicycle.
I ride my bike to work to get a little exercise. Nice way to kind of decompress, especially after dealing with people like you in the morning.
You're so lucky that we're not here during summer, right? What's up with the Kentucky Derby hats? I did not pack those.
They were in a box with stuff we shipped down here, so...
Free swag for anyone that wants one?
I guess, something like that, yeah. I'll give you one if you go away.
Oh, that was so nice. I'll take one. No, I'm just kidding. How was the draw yesterday?
Draw was good. No complaints.
No? Zero?
No. I think all of our horses are well drawn. Just in situations like this, you just want everyone to get to the starting gate doing as well as they could possibly be doing and have safe, clean trips, and best horse win.
I appreciate that time. Real quick, what's your coffee order from the marquee?
It'll be black.
Really?
Yeah.
No flat white, no latte, nothing?
Black.
Black coffee. Mike doesn't need to know the difference between a flat white or a latte or an Americano, guys. Thanks for the time, Michael. I'm so glad to see you.
I'm sure this won't be the last time I see you.
He's so happy. Can't you guys tell?
I think we just could do like a whole 3-hour Mike and Michelle show.
That is great.
M&M show.
That's great. Thank you to Michael McCarthy for tolerating Michelle Yu. We're going to take a look right now at the breakfast marquee. This is what he's trying to get that verification. They don't let anybody in. This is a staunchly secured area. You can see Bob Baffert there. I think that's Tom Ryan standing with him. Got anybody who is everybody who is anybody. However the saying goes, that's where they are, getting their breakfast churros.
Mike Smith in between Tom Ryan and Bob Baffert. Yeah, see them all out there. We had the pleasure of visiting in there yesterday. Food's solid.
Oh, it's so good.
Very good.
La Vie Lumiere earlier today was in the starting gate. A little gate school in here for Michael McCarthy.
And the juvenile fillies, Breeders' Cup juvenile filly. She's a filly that she's the one on the inside there. She's the one that started her career fairly early on, back in May at Santa Anita. There she goes. You could do a couple of things. In California, when you stand at the gate, a lot of horses walk out the front. Back east, my time back east, a lot of people back them out of the starting gate. The idea of walking them out the front is that they're always thinking about going forward rather than just backing them out, rather than teaching them to kind of sit back on that back door. But she just stood there and came out the front and then galloped back once around the racetrack.
That is a great point, Simon. I know a lot of times at Keeneland and even Churchill, I've noticed that quite a lot. They'll back them out and then let them either jog backwards or move forward. And I feel like California is one of the only places that they do go for it. And really, there's no right or wrong.
No, there's not.
So there is La Vie Lumiere. She was drawn in post 6. Kazushi Kimura will be up. Hope you all joined us for the draw show yesterday, and it was as consequential a Breeders' Cup draw as we've ever seen. Let's check in once again with Michelle Yu.
Jose D'Angelo just shipping in last night to Del Mar. Like me, where'd you have dinner last night?
At the airplane.
Oh, you got in really late. Okay. We're standing outside. She's so spicy right now. You had to have been so happy with how she returned from Ascot.
Yes, like she's doing great this year. She just lost on the turf this year on Ascot, so she's still undefeated on the grass in America. I feel, like she improved. She's improving and grow like horse. You can see, like before, she was just so fast and freak to the lead, and since the Mansell, she relaxed a little bit. I'm proving that she can relax, she can run in front, and she can go more than 5 furlongs, so I'm very proud of her.
But today, or this weekend, you only need to go 5 furlongs. Is that going to be a change?
Of course, for her last 3 races, we tried to stretch her a little bit because we was 5.5 on the Mansell, 6 on Ascot with ups and downs. 6.5 on Kentucky Downs were
also ups and downs.
Ups and downs, and plus the term. So now just I did what I did before for her to run 5 furlongs. Just make her enjoy her speed.
I love that. You also have Ben Tornado, who he's over here. Can we walk down this way? Let's walk down. We're gonna visit all the horses because I like to pet horses, and I didn't get to work yesterday. Oh, he doesn't like to be pet? Okay, then we'll just gander at his butt. Anyways, this could be what everybody else in the field is seeing, right? How is he going to go one better than he did last year?
He grow like a horse. He improved. He mature mentally. You can see he can act, acting a little bit outside his stall, but as soon as he get into the track, he's just business, just focus what he's doing, whatever you want to do with him and the rider want to do. We pointed for this race since last year. If everything flows good to the Middle East and next year, that's why we rest him and we work to run in Churchill. I'm now run here, and you can see he sit behind the speed. He don't need now to go to the lead. Make his move when he have to move.
Have you weighed him? This horse is so big.
Yes, probably he needs Ozempic.
He is an absolute beast. Yesterday was the draw. What were your post positions? What do you feel like about him?
I'm very happy with the post position because with the post position, he just needs to break and sit wherever he wants to go. We don't have any pressure, take the lead or go wide or whatever. How he breaks, we're going to be all right.
All right, well, appreciate the time, and thanks for letting me visit. I'll just wave to you from afar since you don't like pets, all right? We'll see you in the winner's circle, Ben Tornado.
I think I kind of like it when they're not so friendly, right? I feel like John Henry had an edge, right? He's going to take a chunk out of your shoulder. You get too close. Something about that. I was like, he's a fighter.
Yeah, no, you like that. And I think Ben Tornado and Straight No Chaser drew perfect, 10 and 12. They both have enough speed to where I think they'll be, forward.
I'm looking at the comments on the bottom of the screen.
In the middle of. Yeah, I like that too.
Rose between two thorns.
Huh?
Is that what it is? We can
I like
switch
that.
up.
See, I like that, Simon. Joyce wouldn't have said that.
No, I'm not nice. At any rate, we're going to take a break. When we return, Simon Bray and Little Joe Talamo will be joining me once again on the set. It's a beautiful morning here at Del Mar. Everyone was saying, why do they bring the Breeders' Cup to Del Mar? Well, that's why, right there. See that? That's why. We'll be
Little.
back.
How about small but mighty?
You might take something for your heart. You might get support for your joints, or even use something for your digestion. So why wouldn't you take something for the most important part of you? Your brain. People all over the country take Prevagen for their brain. In fact, Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years. The most important supplement for the most important part of you. Try Prevagen for your brain today.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote its new MySpend tool. MySpend makes it easy to view your deposit and bet history all in one place. Because betting without knowing how much you're spending is like shooting in the dark. See the whole picture. Make FanDuel's MySpend tool part of your system and stop shooting in the dark.
Calling all, trillionaires.
Come and join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with the weekly bonus back, our thrills are filled up to the brim.
So we're calling all, trillionaires. Trillionaires, calling all.
Calling all trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Welcome back to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup as the renovation break is just about over. It's high traffic time out on the racetrack with a ton of horses coming out. Among them, the Japanese contingent, Forever Young, who will be competing in the Classic after a close finish in the Kentucky Derby last year, is coming up, and behind me going to do a little bit less than he's done in the past with a workout scheduled for tomorrow. Normally, the Japanese horses come out very early in the shoot. That wasn't the case today, but they are switching it up a little with Switch in Love. Filly, 2-year-old filly, lightly raced, going to have a little bit more serious workout. She will breeze down the stretch with her rider, her jockey, aboard, who will ride her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Switch in Love has only started twice. She was second in Stakes Company in Japan last out. And while I'm told that she wouldn't necessarily rank among the very top of the 2-year-old fillies there, the connections are confident that she will actually prefer the North American style and the flat course, so to speak, here at Del Mar that she'll get to encounter. Today's just an opportunity to open her lungs a little bit, but she's actually by Contrail, a Japanese sire who is by Deep Impact, and this will mark the first time an offspring of Contrail has raced outside of Japan. So there's a lot of interest and high expectations for Switch in Love, again, who is going to do a little breeze down the stretch. Forever Young will do that more serious work tomorrow, but is also out in the track and very easy to spot with all the connections, trainer, owner, groom, assistants, and the exercise rider aboard, all sporting Forever Young jackets. So keep an eye on them. It's easy to do.
Like I said, love to see a Kentucky face here in Del Mar, and Brendan Walsh and his string just shipped in. Brendan, walk me down your line. Tell me a fun fact about each of your horses.
It's a short line, Andy. This is Imagination, the lady. She's in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. She's, I don't know, we've only had her, 4 or 5 months, but she's very straightforward. She's a pro for a 2-year-old.
Imagination. Ooh.
Yeah, she's very good. So looks good. She's wanting to eat her microphone there now.
Yes, an old soul, and she was so impressive last time out in the Jessamine. And here we have Jin Jin.
Jin Jin is a character now. She's funny. She's all business, everything is like she wants to go at 100 miles an hour doing everything. So we train her nice and early in the morning, just that she gets out and gets back in, and then she relaxes for the day. So, but she's a lovely character, as you can see. She's always eager to please. So we're very fond of Jin Jin.
She's demanding our attention. And who do we have here?
It's Clicko, our cotillion winner. Clicko's a sweetheart, we love Clicko. She's just the easiest filly in the world to be around. So she's just waiting to be tacked up and ready to go out. But yeah, she's a total pro. She just does it all herself. You can leave it to her.
Brendan, Clico has been one of my favorites to see train at Churchill over the summer. I remember before the cotillion, your whole barn was telling me, bet the house on Clico. But I would see her pull up and be like, is that Gosker? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually Clico. So has she just been doing fantastic coming into the distaff?
I think you described it there, Andy. I mean, she's done so well physically, just through the whole year, really. But she's doing great. Yeah, she's been working great, and you know, I think she keeps advancing and advancing. So we're very hopeful.
Final preps are all done for these ladies. What will their week look like here?
Quiet enough, you know. We've only got a few days here. Listen, all their work is done, so it's just a question of keeping them happy. We'll probably school them all at least once before they run. So we're going to give them an easy day today because they got in last night, and give them an easy day today. Let them rest, and then tomorrow we'll just get them out and school them, and you know, hopefully everything goes good the next couple of days, and we arrive in good shape on Friday, Saturday.
Well, Brendan, couldn't be happier to see you and the ladies here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you very much, Andy. Puro Magic and Switch and Love are out on the racetrack right now. And we'll have a look at those two in just a minute. Let's take a look at Puro Magic first. The sun is blinding. The cloud cover the last few days isn't here. So this is Puro Magic on the track. First on the AE for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, and that is Shogo Yasuda in the irons.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell.
I'm sorry, Shogo Yasuda is the trainer.
Correct. Yeah, it's hard to tell what sort of races this horse is coming out of. I mean, he ran at Maidan, was 5th in the Outquas Sprint. The Sprinter Stakes at Nakayama at the end of September, that's historically a pretty decent race year in, year out in Tokyo. But here he is just galloping. Or she, I should say, 4-year-old daughter of Asia Express.
Yeah, she looks pretty nice, and I mean, we're so close to the race. Nothing too crazy out there. Body language looks good. Ears straight up. She's another one. She kind of had. She's wanting to bow her head, but every now and then she'll kind of break the cross and kind of put her head up a little bit. You can see her energy's really good.
Yeah, she's trying. You can just see her lift the chin up there ahead and just wanting to do a little more. But the rider's moving motionless. Usually, you just take one hold and kind of sit and suffer in that situation and just don't move.
Yeah, and trepidation for the connections because they fly across the Pacific to be here. First on the AE, they need a defection. No one's rooting for a defection, but you have to be ready if your number gets called.
Yeah, you don't wish any ill will on anyone, but at the same time, you still want to compete. Definitely, if she does draw, and definitely have to deal with that outside post because that's so tough. Anywhere, especially here at Del Mar going 5/8, if you're safe from the 10 post and out, you really have to work out a pretty solid trip.
Who's that on the outside of her there?
I was going to say, yeah, she's getting some company.
Or is it? But they're finishing up nicely. I mean, look, if she doesn't get it, my guess is she'd probably stay here, I would think, for maybe the Turf Festival. That was Invisible Papa, yeah.
That was Invisible
Japanese runner. I don't think that was by design. They flew all this way to gallop together, to come down the lane together.
Hey, remember me? I was sitting next to you on the flight. As Puro Magic just finishing up here. So Switch and Love also worked just moments ago. We got the pre-work report from Kate and Radar. Here's a look at Switch and Love. Getting ready to roll.
Yeah, got all the headgear on there, you can see, and well decked out there. Good looking individual here.
Yeah, and a lot of Japanese horses, they don't work too quick.
No.
A lot of them.
No. And they'll do, Forever Love is working tomorrow, and they'll do that. They'll work closer to the race, but a slow, shorter
Just go
work.
Slower, yeah. That's what's always fascinated me so much between, I mean, the difference between American and then European and Japanese racing, complete opposite. We'll work further routes, 6, 7, 8 days and really fast. And then I mean, Forever Young tomorrow, that's going to be, 3 days out from the Classic?
Yeah, but we see with him, they're out of the, they're walking and on constant motion all morning long. I mean, they're out. I guarantee you some trainers train 3 to 4 horses in the time that Forever Love is training. I promise you.
Yeah.
No, they do. They walk a lot. They keep him out of the stall. Yeah. Switch and Love, you can see here, lightly raced, and Yoshido Yahagi has a nice one. I remember Contrail running. I remember Deep Impact running as well. Yeah. I mean, that should tell you something. I was back in the early 2000s. He was a tremendous racehorse and one of the most influential sires in the game. keeping that Sunday Silence line alive in Japan. But here is Switch and Love finishing up here in a nice, strong gallop out.
I mean, from a handicapping standpoint, I mean, you don't know, right? I mean, you're guessing. To be honest with you, you're guessing. But if I'm just looking at the horse on the track, I don't see any reason not to bet this horse.
Right. It's you don't have the specific check against.
Right.
You don't know what's the ceiling, what's the company like, how is it going to match up against these. There's only one way to find out. So 53 flat final clocking for Switch and Love on that 5 furlong drill.
So that's really slow. When we show you our animation,
4 furlong drill, excuse me. Yeah.
For 4 furlongs, that's on the very slow side. But you'll see that we're right on top of the race.
Yeah.
You're going to see Forever Young tomorrow. Probably, I bet he goes 3/8 in 39, something like that.
Something easy, yeah. And for Switch and Love, I mean, you're only 3 days out from the race.
Yeah.
53 is probably perfect. I mean, you don't want to see a 47, 48 3 days out from the race.
So Switch and Love, yeah, it's they train very differently in Japan. They train horses. I was amazed going to Dubai than going to Australia and seeing just the different manners in which they train horses. Australia, it's completely different, where they turn horses out regularly. They bring them up for a preparation. They'll run them 6 times in 5 weeks. They have no problems doing that. But then they give them 90 days, right? And they go out to the farm. It's a completely different game. And then in Japan, there was a great feature about 20 years ago from Simon Bray about the Miho Training Center that really gave us all that insight. We have to dig that up.
It's one for the ages, that feature.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it looks totally different now if I flew back there and did the whole thing all over again.
So the Philly and Mare Turf is going to be the last race on Breeders' Cup Saturday. That's how we're going to be closing things out. And it's a good one, too. I'll tell you, a great betting affair. Here's a look at Be Your Best for Safi Joseph out on the racetrack. This horse was third in the Flower Bowl after opening up a big, big lead. And this horse is going to work 3 furlongs here. 36-3 going to be the official clocking as Be Your Best, trying to be the best in that Philly and Mare Turf event. She's run some good races, and we know what her style is as well.
Yeah, and you could see her too, Simon. I mean, she's in the bridle in a good way. She's definitely wanting to go along. Her last work at Palm Beach Downs was 48-2, which was a bullet that morning.
Yeah, I mean, she's runs in the morning like she runs in the afternoon. She's an up-tempo filly. She's on or close to the lead. And does she have blinkers on there?
I think so. It looks like.
Yeah, which is, I mean, according to my past performance, she's only had them on once, and that was last year. So
actually, it looks like an extension blinker. Yeah, it looks like a run-out blinker too.
So she must wear that in the morning, and that prevents her. I think she's clean on the left eye, so that means there's no cup or anything on the left eye. She has that extension blinker on the right side just to keep her straight from drifting out. She probably trains in it, doesn't race in it.
I'm looking at her past performances. She's only, at least on the form anyway, she only wore blinkers one time last year at Santa Anita in the Rodeo Drive, but before and after that hasn't. But yeah, that's pretty interesting how they do that just for in the morning.
And you have to also put it in perspective. There's no way she was winning the Rodeo Drive last year because she ran into an absolute monster.
Your horse.
Yeah, Hang the Moon. I just had to get that in. She's a grade 1 winner. She won the Gamely. She won the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Be Your Best as she spins the wheels this morning. Let's check in with Kate and Bradar.
Yeah, you can see that Forever Young has finished up, at least for the moment, and is circling in front of us, having come off the track. American Stage also is right in front. And you see those Forever Young jackets that I mentioned with the entire contingent from the stable sporting them. Having had the opportunity to see Forever Young over the course of his at least North American campaign, starting early in his 3-year-old season, it's amazing to see the flesh that the Globetrotter still carries and how good he looks, as opposed to maybe a little bit more wiry type. He really has filled out and is all grown up and a big, strong man. And they are switching riders here. So maybe I was misinformed. Perhaps he is going to do some more serious work here today. Or maybe they're going to just switch riders to allow the rider that was on him to get on somebody else. I'm not quite sure. Also, for what it's worth, Rebels Romance and the rest of that team are out on the track right now. So this is a big hour as far as traffic is concerned.
There's a look at him. He is just a tremendous animal. Forever Young. And I need one of those jackets. I'm going to have to go buy one.
I have to keep an eye on what they're doing. Changing the riders, that would be sometimes indicative that they're going to, maybe do something a little different, but Kane's on top of it.
Every time this one steps on the track, I'm feeling the West Side Story bubble up in my brain. I want to sing, she feels pretty, oh so pretty.
Oh,
she
please
looks
don't,
pretty
Mike.
and witty and bright.
Wow.
Wow.
You're welcome for that. Tomorrow, Joe sings. So here's She's Feel Pretty on the racetrack. She is on a tear. 3 for 4 this year. She won the EP Taylor, the New York, the Modesty. Barely got beat in the Diana. She won the American Oaks at Santa Anita on opening day of their winter meet. She won the QE2 last year, and this will be her first trip back to the Breeders' Cup since she was 2. She was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies.
I mean, she's a 5-time Grade 1 winner.
Yep.
Has never been off the board in 12 career starts. Just I mean, what a filly she is. They paid $240,000 for her, which looks like a steal. I mean, she's made $2.2 million. Johnny V is going to be aboard her, and I love this. And the way she's galloping too, this is kind of how she runs. You could see in all of her races, Johnny Velasquez always kind of has a hold on her. She's one you definitely have to try and get to settle, but she's always in a really good spot. I love her style. She's one of those fillies. She's not going to be in front, but she's always just in the perfect second, third, fourth, right off the pace.
I agree with you. I think her style for turf race is great. She's, you come from far back, you're the victim of pace, traffic, you're on the lead, you could get chewed up on the front end. She's just in that perfect spot. And look at her races. Just go look at her past performance and see every time she runs off the layoff line. It's by far her best performance. She blows the comment. So I think by design, they've given her a little break since August. We touched on this earlier on the week. A lot of these horses now, are racing towards the end of August, end of Del Mar, end of Saratoga, and then they just train up to the Breeders' Cup to fire their best shot.
Also, thanks to the rider, the exercise rider, for wearing the jockey cam, because this is just such a great. I know some people get a little motion sickness watching it, but I think it really does give you that first-person perspective that you can't get anywhere else. And it puts you back in the saddle, Joe, and you can give us that interpretation. I mean, the movement, the way she's riding, and the way Johnny V has to ride her in the body of a race.
Yeah, no, exactly. And exactly how she's galloping right there. We talked about all week that she's the type of filly you do not want to urge her whatsoever. You could tell the rider has quite a big hold on her. And to your point, Mike, about her run lines and how she runs good so fresh, you could see in her works. I mean, when she works, she can go 46, 47. So
on the dirt.
Yeah.
And she's a turf filly.
Which for a turf filly is very impressive. But she's another one. We were talking about post position. She drew 13, so she's definitely going to have to contend with that with the turn coming up.
The really good ones can do that. The 2 best turf fillies I've ever had, one was a Grade 1 winner, the other one only ran a couple of times. They could both work 59 on the dirt, and then they could go 1.25 miles on the turf sitting off the pace.
Here's Rebels Romance. I have to say, this is one of the true stars in our sport, and I don't know that we in the media have really captured his greatness. This is a horse who's made $14 million in his career. He has taken his track with him around the world, whether it's to Qatar, to Del Mar, to Ascot, or Sha Tin. He goes everywhere. He's won 2 Breeders' Cup turf races. He's easily one of the best horses in the world. And I don't know how you say he's not the best turf runner in the world.
And talk about post position. I don't think he could have drawn any better in the one post. With his style coming from right off of it, I think that's absolutely perfect.
And he's trying to become only the 3rd horse to ever win 3 Breeders' Cup races, and only the 2nd one to win the same Breeders' Cup race 3 times, as Beholder, of course, won the Juvenile Filly. Look at Beholder is just so ridiculous. And Richard Mandela.
Look how she skipped 2 years.
Yeah, she won this Juvenile Fillies, the Distaff in 13, and then the Distaff in 16. I mean, it's just, what a fantastic job Richard Mandela did managing her career. But Charlie Applebee, the career of Rebels Romance, what does that tell you, Simon, about the horse? What does that tell you about the connections? I know he's a gelding, so there's no reason to put him out to stud, but they take him literally everywhere, and he runs his race and wins everywhere.
That's the thing. I mean, look, no disrespect to Beholder, but they're racing within their own country. Dubai, Hong Kong, UK, Germany, Qatar, England, America. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, what he's done, and at the level, to maintain that level of excellence for all those years is just a tremendous achievement by Charlie Applebee and the crew, and hats off to the horse. And he clearly loves his job. He's still winning at a high level.
Look at his energy, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's feeling so good out there. You could see putting his head up there, really wanting to do more.
$14 million he's made.
It's incredible.
It's unbelievable.
He's a tremendous horse. And once again, Joe, the passport, they stamp it when you go to other countries. Here's where he's been. He's been to England, Saudi Arabia, Germany, of course here in the U.S., Qatar, Hong Kong, and Dubai, and he has won Group or Grade 1s in all of those countries.
That's That's insane.
That's the thing. He's had to go through customs because he's bringing gigantic trophies back with him every time.
Just stacks of cash.
Oh, my goodness. Seriously, Rebels Romance. I don't think that we make enough of him. He only runs here once or twice a year, but I don't think we make enough of how much of a superstar in this sport he really is.
Look at him. He's flexing out there. Looks like you, Mike, after working out at the gym the other day.
Yeah, I'm pretty swole after that. Rebels Romance on the track today. He is going to try to become the first horse to ever win 3 Breeders' Cup turfs. Let's take a look at the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. He was pennies on the dollar that day. It was a short field, but everyone knew what they were in store for as Rebels Romance got to the front early on, and no one could catch him, as they seldom do.
Yeah, I mean, he's very tough to beat when he gets on the front end, and obviously he's beating, redistricting for trainer Chad Brown here, and we know how good he is. He's a Grade 2 winner. But he just crushed this group. This is a perfect setup coming into the Breeders' Cup. Again, this was at the end of September. He's had plenty of time to recover, and he looks tremendous.
I mean, look at him striding out, especially going 1.5 miles. A lot of those races, you don't see horses win by, say, more than a length or so. A lot of times it's a very close finish. But, I mean, for him to open up and visually you could see him finishing, it did not look like a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I also say this about Rebel Romance. Look, the media's here. Hey, not too close to the gap there. Not too close to the gap there. The media has shown up. There's Goliath, and he is on the track right now for... Now, I know everyone looking at home, they're seeing something going on with that left hind leg, Simon. Explain what we're looking at.
Yeah, so it's a complicated situation. You don't see it. I'll start by prefacing, you don't see it much in racehorses. Sometimes a lot of show horses. I don't know whether you can see it because it's a little dark. But
yeah, the sun's so bright here, it's hard to tell.
The best way to describe it, he's kind of goose-stepping with his left hind leg. It's called stringholt is the technical term. There's no pain associated. It's just an awkward gait. And it's a condition that affects the neurological endings there and to the limb in that area, and it forces him to give that exaggerated leg lift. When you get into the higher gait, a trot, a canter, a gallop, you won't see it. It's just at the walk. It has no adverse effect on Goliath. It's proven he's had it. He's been looked at all over the world. He's run successfully with it. It's a condition that you don't have to worry about. And like I said, it's not very common in racehorses. Sometimes you'll get it in show horses or some horse, pleasure horses that are out in the field and things. But he's not under any duress whatsoever.
Right, it doesn't affect anything.
No.
But you do get a look at it, and you're like, huh, this is peculiar. Cue the Imperial March. Aiden O'Brien bringing the contingent in from Ballydoyle.
Look at this.
And single file, as he often does. It's such an intimidating look when he brings them out onto the racetrack. But one of those things that we all eagerly anticipate for Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, they go in single file. This is how they, do things in Europe. Usually, a lot of times, they put the colts at the front of the line and the fillies at the back for obvious reasons. So,
wait, why, son?
That's what they'll do. But this is what they do. They go in Indian file like this, and they'll maybe jog once around the racetrack like this.
As Aiden's Army has now made its way in, and this is one of those sites that every year at Breeders' Cup, when you know, okay, it's game on time. The Euros are here. They're out on the track. We all eagerly anticipate whether or not we're going to get to see him this morning, next morning, when we knew it was going to be today. It's an imposing force, but there's a reason that it's imposing, and this is by design. And Aiden O'Brien, sitting on the cusp of passing D. Wayne Lucas for the record of all-time Breeders' Cup wins. Same with Bob Baffert, but Aiden has some numbers in his hand, in his corner, and you can see them all out there. And all of these horses just in tremendous physical shape. He's a world-class horseman, and this has been a part of the MO since day one for him.
Yeah, it certainly has, and this group here is like vacation for Aiden. Usually, there's about another 45 more in the morning when he's training like this.
So, like in Europe, will they breeze like that? Or
no, they'll pair up and breeze in company usually, or something, but they won't breeze like this. No.
Now, what do they get out of this? Is it just how he keeps it?
Well, orderly.
Organized?
Because, when you're training, Bob Baffert's got, let's just take him or whoever, Bill Mott, they've got 60 horses. They have to get out between the hours of 6 and 10. So they have sets of 5, 6, and 7. And the horses all go out by themselves. Here, there's only 3 sets usually of horses exercising in a European barn because they're out of the stall so long. So Aiden O'Brien got 100 horses, you know, or
So
more
it's by
than that.
necessity.
Yeah, so they're going to have to take 40, 40, and 40 like that.
Let's check in with Scott and Rishi as Aiden's army makes their way in front of the grandstand.
Yeah, and they just passed by us here in the chute as they head out to the track, and Aiden O'Brien walking towards the front side, it appears, to watch these horses train. And not on a horse today. Sometimes you'll see Aiden jump on a horse on occasion at these Breeders' Cups, but it's an imposing group, as they talk about. It's not something we're used to, but it's by necessity with the amount of horses that they need to get out and train.
Well, Aiden has now established himself, as you heard the guys on set talking. When he travels to the Breeders' Cup, he brings a huge number, not just horses, but people as well. As you pointed out earlier on, it is indeed an army, and in that army, there are a number of horses here who come with winning chances.
And Minihawk would be the headliner, undoubtedly, the great 3-year-old filly who just narrowly missed in the arc in a quick turnaround. And if anybody's ever game to make these quick turnarounds, it's Aiden, right? Because these are situations where it's the end of the year. They're going to get a considerable break before they start getting ramped up. And these are big Group 1, Grade 1 races, especially for fillies or any of these horses for this operation.
The way he's campaigned has been beautiful. She's improved throughout the year, and her run in the arc proved that she's not just very good against her own generation. She's a brilliant middle distance filly across the generations. She comes here as the standout horse, I think, for Aiden. And the good thing about Minihawk is she's very comfortable through the race. She doesn't pull. She's not keen. She hasn't got that instant turn of foot. As long as there's room for her to make her challenge, I think she's got a great chance of beating Rebel's Romance. She's got seemingly a really sound mind. She looks uncomplicated, like so many of Aiden's horses. There is one horse in his team who's not entirely uncomplicated, and that's the Lion in Winter, who you may notice this morning will be getting rather warm. He will sweat like nobody's business on the day of the race.
And he's a horse that last year was the early favorite for the Epsom Derby. Things just did not pan out for him at all, did they?
Scott, I think last year, after he won the Acomb at York, he was favourite for the 2,000 Guineas, the Derby. He was going to win the Triple Crown, the King George. Pretty much any race that there was anti-post markets for, he was favourite for. This season has been disappointing by those lofty standards of expectations, but he has shown that there's a lot of ability in there. There's clearly something going on in his head because he gets warm, worked up, but he's run 2 really good races back-to-back now in France and last time at Ascot. So it's possible that maybe Aiden's getting the better of him like he so often does.
I think you look at this group, we've talked about the Lion in Winter, we've talked about Minihawk coming out of her arc second place finish, just that narrow second place finish. Some other names that maybe not familiar with our U.S. viewers. Gestad, we got a chance to see him run at Royal Ascot. He's a very physically advanced young horse who has a ton of ability, and we'll see him in the juvenile turf.
He's a huge horse, huge individual for one so young, but his post position is going to make things hard for him. He's the right on the outside, as is Precise. Gestad, I think the issue with him is that he can be a little bit keen, and he's up in trip to a mile for the first time. He ran over 7 furlongs in the Dewhurst, and he just ran out of puff in the last furlong, so that will be a little bit of a concern if he is keen and he is out wide. Precise, though, she's like Minihawk, very uncomplicated. I imagine she's going to take all the beating, even though, like Stad, she's also drawn on the outside. She's just the most lovely filly. She's on a much smaller scale in comparison to some of his other 2-year-olds, but she is class, all class.
And Aiden with 3 in the juvenile turf sprint. Brussels, Mission Central, and True Love. Of that trio, who would be the headliner of that group?
True Love would be the headliner. She's a very outstanding filly. She won the Cheveley Park last time out. She was a winner at Royal Ascot. I guess the issue for True Love is that she's coming back to 5 furlongs. Christophe Soumillon not riding her because he's going to be riding Brussels, I think, in the race.
Brussels, right.
But obviously the issue with Christophe Soumillon is that he's riding at the same weight on Minihawk, but he can't do the weight on the Friday. But his point is getting ready to ride at 119 on Minihawk on Saturday, but he won't be able to do the weight on True Love on Friday.
This year for Aiden, how would you sum up 2025 and what he's been able to do during the flat season, during the premier portions of the flat season?
Well, given the number of Group and Grade 1 wins he's had this season, it's been one of his best. It's interesting because at the start of last year, yes, he had the likes of the Lion and Winter. He had the likes of Bedtime Story, who runs here this year, and some other outstanding fillies. But a few horses have emerged. Minihawk has emerged as a superstar, and she wasn't quite at perhaps the level of expectations as one or two others. But he's 3 shy of breaking his world record, his own world record for Group and Grade 1 wins. He might do that on Friday, and he might break the world record on Saturday with either Lion and Winter or indeed Minihawk.
It is a big group, big opportunities ahead. We had an opportunity not only now to see the Aiden O'Brien team head out, but we also had an opportunity to see the Godolphin team head out just a few moments back. We're going to let these horses train, Michael. We're going to head back over to the quarantine barn and catch a word with Charlie Applebee and discuss his big opportunities ahead. But this is an exciting time out here this morning, having these Euros finally making it to the track.
Yeah, it's an awe-inspiring sight, without a doubt. But as I said, it's somewhat out of necessity. But Aiden O'Brien, he has just been such a force for Coolmore over the last couple of decades. And it didn't take long for him to become a household name, but just each and every year, it seems like he's besting himself. It doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon either.
No, I mean, he's dealing with the best bloodstock in the world. I mean, but you still got to produce, and that always doesn't happen.
All right, so we're going front to back here. That's the Lion and Winter.
Getting a little warm as expected.
Yeah, the Lion and Winter be in the Breeders' Cup Mile. And then we mentioned that. Here's a look at Gestad. How are we saying this? Gestad? Gestad?
It's Gestad.
Gestad? Okay, Gestad. Is it
and
German?
I would say this would, I wouldn't be shocked to see this a lot this morning, horses swim, because, I mean, this is the first morning where the sun's come out this early, and it's gotten pretty warm.
Yeah, well, they've been in quarantine, and we've said it all week. Anytime a horse gets into a new environment, they're always going to get a little warm, right? Even horses coming into the winner's circle here. Here's Brussels. That's who Christophe Soumillon's going to be riding. They were second in the Cornwallis last time out, only beating a nose at Newmarket.
They're a turf sprinter. And that's Minihawk, who we were speaking of, the superstar for Aiden O'Brien in the background there, wearing saddle towel 306.
I mean, she's coming in off the ARC, and, ARC winners haven't, we always talk about it every year. It's kind of ad nauseum about ARC runners, winners coming here and not doing well. There haven't been that many, but ARC also runs do come, and they run well here at the Breeders' Cup. But she'll be taking on the boys.
There's True Love on screen right now. As we pan off of that one, it's such a mouthful. If you have past performances like we do, we're just flipping back and forth trying to get to the right one.
There's Precise. She's going to be one of the shorter prices all week.
Yeah, she's in the Juvenile Fillies turf.
Yeah, and she should be. I mean, if you're like the Euros like to say a banker or a lock, she's the lock for the European horses, I think.
She's another one that drew post wasn't ideal. 13
yeah, way outside
on a mile.
It's hard for us to see with the sun as bright as it is, so apologies if we can't get through all these names exactly as they are, panning through.
And just for the U.S. viewers that might not be up to date, I mean, Rishi...
Bedtime Story, sorry.
Yeah, Rishi touched on it. Ryan Moore won't be here this year. Obviously, he's sitting on the sidelines with a major injury. So Christophe Soumillon has been riding a lot for Coolmore the last couple of months. And, he's had a lot of success. So he's their number one rider here this week, or till the end of the year, till Ryan comes back.
There's Artisla. Or Atsila, I should say. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that was it.
We are playing. We got the sun on the monitor, so we're squinting to see who these are. And at 48, my eyesight's going. There's Valentina on screen right now in the Juvenile Fillies.
I mean, they're going around there perfectly, right? All of them are just doing the same thing, just taking a nice jog.
Yeah, they're so well behaved.
Yeah, that's Mission Central for the Juvenile Turf Sprint. Very well behaved. They're not spooking at all. But, Aiden knows what he's got to do to bring and what horses to bring. He's had so much success globally. That's North Coast in the Juvenile Turf. And then right behind, I don't know who that is. Can't see. Queen of Hawaii, yeah. Juvenile Fillies turf.
This was almost as good as Joaquin counting his steps yesterday.
Yes.
So that's a look at.
Do you want to count the horses, Mike? Start counting the horses front to back.
I think it was 14.
2.
Let's see.
Sorry about that. Thank you for bearing with us through that. It's hard. Spoiler alert, I don't have all of these horses memorized. I am reliant on my notes, and we couldn't exactly see. But you can see it's a busy morning out on the racetrack, so they're taking this all in. They're going to do a couple of laps around on the outside here, Simon?
I would imagine they've done one, right? They've just completed one, so yeah. I don't know whether they're going to canter or not. They might. It's impressive when they'll all come back and then they'll turn around and if they canter, they'll all canter like this as well.
And they'll canter in twos. We've had a closer look at Aiden O'Brien and Aiden's Army as he is approaching a new record in the Breeders' Cup. But let's take a look at Aiden's Army here as they are on the track, and he brings them to the Breeders' Cup.
It's a sight we have become accustomed to seeing every year at the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Horses lined up like dominoes, familiarising themselves with their new surroundings before they commence battle. Aiden's Army, as this annual cavalry is known, returns to compete at the Breeders' Cup for the 28th year. It was 1998 when we first saw the maestro from Ballydoyle make his debut, and 2 years later he nearly stole the classic with the Iron Horse Giant's Causeway.
A heart-pounding, pulsating stretch drive.
But since then, O'Brien has amassed an incredible 20 Breeders' Cup victories, tying the legendary D. Wayne Lucas for the most wins by a trainer. More than half of those wins have been partnered by Ryan Moore, long considered the world's best jockey. But this year, the team from Tipperary will have to compete without him, as Ryan was sidelined in late August with a stress fracture to his right leg. While the man who has steered the cavalry to so much Breeders' Cup glory watches from the sidelines, the master of Ballydoyle and the army marches forward. And to fill the void left by Moore, O'Brien has turned to one of the most decorated talents in the world of horse racing, the Belgian superstar, Christophe Soumillon. Soumillon, the 10-time French champion jockey, has long been a fixture in France, winning the country's biggest races. Now, at 44 years of age, and in the twilight of an already brilliant career, he finds himself in an unlikely position. A challenge he has already met with distinction.
Christophe Soumillon by a length and a half.
Now this temporary partnership heads to the Breeders' Cup with the impressive bloodstock we've come to expect. Most notably, the sensational filly Minihawk, fresh off an agonising second in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe and a commanding victory in the Yorkshire Oaks. And with Aiden now sitting at 25 Grade 1 wins for the year, a dominant Breeders' Cup would not only crown him as the winningest trainer at the World Championships, but it would also set the stage to break his own record of 28 Grade 1 winners in a single season. All eyes are now on Delmar as Aiden's Army marches on.
Truly, when you quantify his accomplishments in 2025, it is a very impressive year and could be another record-breaking one. And here's a look at Aiden's Army as they're breaking off for a gallop here.
Yep, they're all going to turn around and gallop. They'll probably gallop. Just the exit to that package that you just saw could have been a live shot right now. So they'll do this. When they work, we won't see them work, but if they're working, they will never work like this in a big punch like this. But in the slower paces, galloping in the US terms or cantering in the UK European terms, they'll do it like this.
This is so cool.
Look, for some people, you get 0 or maybe 1 shot with 1 horse to run in the Breeders' Cup in your life. And Aiden comes in with an army like this every single year. He's playing a different game than a lot of other people in this sport.
And they all have shots, too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. From his perspective, I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, this is expected, right?
Right.
I mean, this is the Dodgers spending $1 billion on payroll and not making the playoffs if they don't show up. I mean, he's got to be here. I mean, there's no excuses, really.
But it is pretty wild as you see him breaking off. And they're breaking off into a canter. And it's horsemanship, but the management of all of these horses.
That's the thing.
I mean, I think that's what gives you the ulcer, right? A lot of trainers, they love the animals, they love being here. That's the part that they live for, right? Coming in the morning, being around the animals. But the management of where you're putting them all, where you're placing them, you have to treat each one like an individual. What's their campaign? What's the end goal? I mean, that's the part that keeps them up at night.
Yeah, I mean, training horses is extremely hard, and you can't underscore. I mean, logistically, I mean, just from a standpoint of employing people, I mean, it's a very labor-intensive job. He's got a lot of people. He's got to manage the people. You've got to have a good team underneath you, and then logistically, when you're trying to move from point A to point B, in this case, halfway around the world, but they have all the tools. They got the private charter. I mean, so they have it in place. That's why, they're going to do this. This isn't Godolphin. They have their own plane. And so it makes things a lot easier, but you still got to do it.
And you've got to win.
Yes.
You have to
That's
win. I mean, it's not just about getting the job done. You have to win. And it's all of those things combined. You could do a brilliant job, but if you don't win enough, and all of it's for naught.
That's right. And people say, well, he's got all the horses, he's got access to the planes, this and that. But the pressure that goes along with that.
Yeah, he's got all the pressure, too.
Yeah, you've got to, there's no room for error. You got to show up, you got to get the job done. I mean, this is a guy, Aiden O'Brien. He will train at Ballydoyle in the morning. He'll get on an airplane. He'll fly to Royal Ascot, saddle a horse. He will fly back and forth.
Right.
From Ireland to Royal Ascot every day. And someone asked him one time, you've traveled all over the world. He goes, the only things I've seen in any city I've been to are an airport and a racetrack.
True. But that's, hey, man.
True racetracker.
Yeah.
I think most of it, that's how we see the world, is through the eyes of the racetrack, says Aiden O'Brien. And look, his success speaks in volumes, but I mean, there are plenty of racing outfits that spend money. There are plenty of, Godolphin and Coolmore have been going at it for years, but the success that Coolmore has had, multi-generational success, and that's, by the way, that's Tommy Joe out there, who is running adjacent to Aiden's army, out there getting a look at all the Euros. But the point I'm making is that Coolmore's success, it isn't just about having the dollars to go buy the best horses. They have been so sharp over the years. It's acquiring the sires. It's knowing which ones hit and which ones don't. It's the deal making. It's the placement of their horses around the world. They're absolute geniuses. The entire operation is second to none, and it's been like that since before I was born.
I think that's the impressive point too, right,
Yeah.
Mike? Just for them to be so successful for so long. And Simon, I don't know how to explain to people how interesting this is. Like an American horse, to get them to do that 14 in a row, that is not easy.
No, I mean, if any trainer on the backside took out their whole barn and tried to train them like that,
it would be impossible.
Chaos.
There's no way.
It'd be total chaos.
To have each horse relax like they did behind and in a perfect cadence, and have the exercise riders do that too, because if one goes too fast or too slow, it would be an absolute mess.
But they're taught that from the get-go. They're taught that they're taught to relax in behind another horse. And most trainers, in their main strings, their first and second, the lead horse will always be like the anchor, the horse that can be in front of everybody.
Well, there's a look as they took a spin around the track. They're heading back to the barn. We are headed to break. When we return here on The Breakfast Show, well, the marquee's filling up. I'll take a cappuccino, please. Thank you. Andy Biancone catches up with Todd Pletcher. We have more on The Breakfast Show from Del Mar after this.
He's inside the 20. End zone. Touchdown.
Calling all, Thrillionaires, calling all, Thrillionaires.
Come and Join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with a weekly bonus back, our thrills are filled up to the brim. Can you thrill me?
Yeah, because this will be like the most amount of pure glee that ya ever gonna get from rewards that start day one. So we're calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all.
Calling all Trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keeneland welcomes you to the inaugural championship sale for this one-of-a-kind sales event, right here at the center of the World Championships. Your opportunity to play at the highest level is about to begin. Welcome to the Keeneland Championship Sale.
Well, Todd, I really don't want to say we jinxed it yesterday, but I'm going to address the white elephant in the room first and foremost. Fierceness drew the rail last night. He's going to be breaking right here with this temporary rail. What are your thoughts overall?
I think it was a one-time thing, really. I don't anticipate it being an issue. I think Johnny will be prepared if it, if he did kind of start looking at that area. But, we're going to gate school him tomorrow as we normally would, and I think he'll be fine.
He's undefeated from the rail here at Del Mar, as Mike Rapoli said last night on Twitter, so that is positive news. But I know we saw Tommy Joe and Time to Dream galloping by. What will they be doing, and what were your impressions of their gallops?
They were galloping very well. We're going to stand them at the gate after they finish their gallops, and just familiarize them with the gate crew here, and just as we would pretty much for any race.
Watching them gallop, they seem like very different rides. How would you compare each of them?
Yeah, Time to Dream's pretty laid back. She's not overly aggressive. Tommy Joe is. She's a pretty strong gallop, and she wants to please every day.
I know Hector has ridden some of the best race horses in the last 10 years, having worked for you for a long time. So I know in Hector we trust, but were you a little nervous watching Aiden O'Brien's horses come right up by Tommy Joe?
Yeah, I didn't anticipate we were going to have them right behind us, but she's kind of aggressive, whether there's other horses on the track or not. We've kind of experimented with trying to take her at times when there's really no traffic out there, and she's pretty much the same.
What will the gate schooling schedule look like for the rest of your brigade this week?
The classic horses will stand at the gate tomorrow, and assuming that these two are well behaved today, then that'll be it for them.
Todd, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Todd's going to bring Fierceness back. They kind of touched on it, the white elephant in the room. And, he said there, I think he had time to sleep on it. He said he doesn't think Fierceness will probably do that again. He thinks it's a one-time thing, so...
Yeah, I agree. Once a horse does that, and not only that, Johnny's going to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And they made a point too to school him, but I just think that was a one-off too.
You think he'll have his stick in his left hand?
I would think so, just in case.
Well, here's my question though, and I'm sure a lot of the people who fell in love with Fierceness again after the Pacific Classic and want to take him because they'll get a little bit of a price on him. Does that draw dissuade you from betting him? Does this make you reassess what happened, or do you feel like, it was a one-off, it probably doesn't happen again, and if you like Fierceness, if you were going to like him in the 8-hole, you should like him in the 1-hole?
I mean, it's definitely going to dissuade some people, I would think, but I'm kind of with you, Simon. I do think it's a one-off. I mean, it's not like he's a green 2-year-old or something that had happened. I just think he hadn't, come out of this shoot in particular at Del Mar, and I think the extended rail is definitely going to help quite a bit.
That's going to help, yeah, and a full field. I think, look, even though he's breaking from post 1, he was in starting gate position 3, right? So there were 2 empty stalls inside of him. So that gave more ground. Be interesting to see. He might come out of the conventional 1-hole, which puts him tighter against the rail, it's better off than having that gap there.
Yeah.
So we'll have more on that in a moment. I find the Fierceness debate to be really intriguing because he's a horse that I truly wanted to bet. And you look at what the 3-year-olds, we talk about how great this 3-year-old crop is. They have not done well against older horses yet. Gosger couldn't get the best of him. Journalism couldn't get the best of Fierceness. We haven't seen sovereignty against older, but in those few instances where they've ventured out against older horses, they haven't been able to beat them. So we shall see. Let's check in with Michelle Yu, who's standing by with Aiden O'Brien.
We're not standing. We're walking. There's zero standing if you're going to talk to Aiden. It's always done on the walk. We just watched the Army go by. What were your thoughts for day one here?
Yeah, good. Seemed fine. Everyone seemed happy, really. It was first day on the track, and it was just to kind of get him out and show him the place, really. So they just followed along each other, and all seemed happy. Obviously, we didn't meet everybody yet, but everyone seemed very happy. They were all nice and relaxed and just lobbed along. So just to see the surroundings, really, Michelle.
And you've got both of your boys' horses out with yours as well, right?
That's right. Donnacha's Joseph's were at the back and Donnacha's were just in front. And so obviously we all travelled together on the Breeders' Cup Plains. So and all did the same things the last couple of days. And then it was just like you said, just to introduce him to the track, really.
What's going to be the plan for the next couple of days here? Are you going to be visiting the starting gate at all?
I think they do. I think do the starting gate either Wednesday or Thursday. They usually go down to the starter and they stand in and back out. That's the usual, I think. And then maybe on the Thursday, maybe that's tomorrow, and then maybe on the Thursday they go through the paddock, and then on the Friday they're back out on the track. Like, they did go on the track as well, but it's just on the track on Thursday and Friday.
All this is very important information for us, so we know exactly where to find you. Yesterday, post-position draw. We thought Mike Rapoli was unlucky getting the rail with Fierceness, but you drew the outside with so many horses. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sure. Listen, that's the way it is, and obviously we'll see what Christoph thinks. And listen, that's the way it is, and draws are draws, and that's the way they are. They can be for good reasons or bad reasons, and listen, it's all good long term. So hopefully. So Christoph will have a look at him and see what he thinks and how it goes, I suppose, really.
How's the adjustment been with Christoph Soumillon coming in for Ryan Moore?
I know he's very good. Obviously, he's a world-class jockey and all the experience and there's nothing he hasn't done. We're just very lucky that he wasn't retained and that he was available. So, great fella to work for. He's a great horseman, great understanding of racing. Unbelievable, really. We were just so lucky to have him, really.
All right, well, I appreciate the time. I know there's 100 people waiting to talk to you, and you got 100 horses to look at, so we'll see you later on.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
As Aiden O'Brien, yes, there's always 100 people waiting to talk to him, but he's quite used to this because he shows up at the biggest racing festivals across the world, the biggest one being the Breeders' Cup here, obviously. He comes in with a lot of horses, so there's always a keen interest in what Aiden O'Brien has to say.
Yeah, and he never turns down an interview. That's the best part. He's very accommodating with the media. So, yeah, look, and he laid out the plans there. So now we know what we're going to do. We see some gate schooling tomorrow and then through the paddock on Thursday. They'll be behind us on Thursday morning.
So that was our first look at the Euros at the Aiden O'Brien Army. We've got Yoshida Yahagi's contingent behind us as well with Forever Young, who usually comes by and says hello. And they're doing a little schooling, checking out the paddock stalls.
He's breezing tomorrow. Kadm confirmed that.
Forever Young?
On the phone. Yeah, because we weren't sure today or tomorrow. He's breezing tomorrow.
There's a look at Rashabar on the racetrack. As he's stretching his legs a little bit this morning in preparation for the Longines Breeders' Cup turf.
Yeah, he's trained by Brian Meehan, who's won a Breeders' Cup race with Red Rocks. Remember
I remember.
Paul Redden back in the day?
Red Rock, that was the worst beat of my life. Rashabar, he's pretty good. He's light on the wins, though. 0 for 6 this year, but he has been running against some tough company. I mean, he was 4th in the Guineas. He was second in a Group 1 as well. So he's been in some tough spots, but I think he might be a little up against it.
Yeah, he's a 3-year-old too, running against older. He has run against older twice this year, second and a 4th place, both in stakes races. So yeah, he's 20-1. They're definitely going to have to step up.
He was a top 2-year-old. That's the thing. He hasn't really regained that 2-year-old form. When you win the Coventry at Royal Ascot, you're second in the Prix Morny and the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère. I mean, those are major Grade 1 races, championship races in France. And then his 3-year-old year started good, and just a cut below the top level horses. And they've stretched him out the last 3 starts. That might help him a little bit, but he's got to improve, I think.
Let's check out Vava for Sheree Dvau and the Fillion Mare Sprints. and the rider kind enough to wear the jockey cam. So this is Vava out for a gallop earlier today. Actually, no, this right now, I believe this is live as earlier today. Vava, of course, a very talented runner, won the Chicago Handicap at Churchill Downs earlier this summer, and has made over $2 million throughout the career.
Yeah, second in TCA at Keeneland last time out. She did run in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint here at Del Mar last year. Just didn't run her race. It was 8th beaten, 7.5. So looking for a little better performance there. But you could see it is a really nice cadence going out there. Has her ears straight up, and I just love how they have the jockey camera to let the fans at home get to see this.
Did it take you back, Joe?
It does, Michael. It does.
Let's be honest. I
mean, I would be going a little bit quicker than this.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Talma, undefeated in works.
Yeah. Oh, Billy Koch loves that. He said I was still a feet pink high in workouts.
Yeah. You never lose a work. Always work him heads up. You want to get that nose in front.
Oh, yeah. Teach him to win, baby. Always get ahead in front at the wire.
Right? And anyway, in related news, you're now giving us analysis of these works. So when you're screen on the right, what does this look like, and what does this tell you about this horse and how she's making her way around the track?
Yeah, I mean, you could see the rider on the left. He has a decent hold of her. I mean, this is just pretty typical. This is pretty much what you want to see. Just nothing too crazy. Actually, you could see her
looking. She's cocked her head.
Sorry, the sun's so bright on our set. She's kind of got her head cocked to the right there. I don't know if she's wanting to get maybe a little keen. And sometimes when you're working a horse and galloping a horse is totally different. When a jockey's on it, we'll go to work him or breeze him when you're going off in 12s. When you're galloping this whole week, we were talking about that. You're trying to go anywhere from 16, 17 seconds to 20 seconds. But when they try and get keen a lot of times you'll trick them a little bit. Sometimes you'll kind of bring their head to the right or left. But I think that was just her maybe looking around a little bit.
Yeah, first out of the track, just peeking around.
Yeah.
She was coming down the lane, just had her head cocked to the side and looking around, which is just taking, there we go, now I can see, just taking things in.
But this is a perfect cadence stud, especially first day at the track. You don't want to go really any quicker than this. Just a nice stroll out there.
Let's check in once again. We saw Rashabar on the racetrack just moments ago. For more on Rashabar, we go to Scott Hazelton and Rishi Prasad.
Winner. He broke his maiden in the Coventry last year at Royal Ascot. Is it surprising that Brian Meehan would have him here?
It's surprising for us looking at it from the outside and what he's done in his career so far. But then you take into account Brian Meehan's record in the Breeders' Cup and the Breeders' Cup turf in particular, and you have to pay respect. He's had Red Rocks win it. He's had Dangerous Midge win it. But Rashabar, looking at it with an analyst point of view, you'd go, well, his best form leaves him well shy of the very best horses like Minihawk, like Rebel's Romance. And not only that, the trip's a question mark for him. You mentioned the Coventry over 6 furlongs as a 2-year-old. He ran quite well in St James Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot, but that was over a mile. He ran okay in France. I still think there's a question mark about the trip for him. He's never been 1.5 miles in his career, so there are a few question marks against him. One thing, he looks magnificent. He's a big, strong individual, like a lot of Brian Meehan's horses.
Would this be, you think, a situation where he's a 3-year-old, bring him over here, test the waters, see what could be coming on down the line for him, if there could be an American campaign at some point next year outside of a Breeders' Cup card?
I imagine that's exactly the ultimate aim, because they look at the form and they go to themselves, well, we might not beat Minihawk, we might not beat Rebel's Romance, but we could run well, and if we do run well and he sees out 1.5 miles around an American 1.5 mile track, then there are opportunities for him in America in 2026, whereas back home against the very best of over 1.5 miles in Europe, he'd come up short.
We're familiar, I hope that viewers are familiar with the last name Levy, because we see Sean Levy riding quite frequently on the FanDuel airwaves in the morning hours in which we show the Premier Racing each and every race day from overseas, but Joe Levy, that is not a familiar name.
No, Joe Levy, no relation to Sean. He is the champion apprentice this year, newly crowned champion apprentice in Britain. He has clearly got a lot of talent, as his success proves. The other thing he's clearly also got, listening to him, speaking to him, he's got a very level head, and he always wants to learn. He's worked very closely with a former rider called George Baker back in the UK, who's a mentor for a number of jockeys, and George Baker has always spoken very highly about his attitude more than anything else, not just his riding ability, his ability to want to learn and learn very quickly and learn from the very best. He's happy to be criticised and told what he can do better, and that's worked for him because this season he's got his rewards.
I know this is not related to Rashabar, and we're showing him on the track from moments ago. He's just come back to the quarantine barn, but you were telling me, speaking of young riders, you were just telling me, and the gentlemen were talking about it on the set, with the fact that Ryan Moore is not riding here, right? We're missing Ryan Moore.
Yes.
But he's got a son who's teed up for a potential first win today, and he's riding for Charlie Applebee.
Yes, so Toby Moore, Ryan's 17-year-old son, has been associated and been riding out with Charlie Applebee for a period of time, and he actually got his first ride for Charlie Applebee in public. I'm pretty certain the horse finished second or third, did not win. So he's searching for his first win. He's due to ride a short price favourite for Charlie Applebee later today, so it's possible Ryan Moore could be celebrating a first win for his young son, Toby.
Should we be getting on that on the FanDuel Racing app? Because we can wager.
Quite possibly, but I need to check through the race.
Okay, all right.
I haven't done more than have a look at it briefly.
We'll get back to you on that one, Michael.
I don't need to check the prices. I'm betting. At any rate, great information there about the connections, the apprentice, and I had no idea Ryan Moore even had a son, let alone one racing today. That's amazing. There's a look at White Abario getting ready to have a little bit of a drill here this morning. We'll have more from breakfast at the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar after this.
Elegance is an attitude.
The best 2-year-old by legendary sire Quality Road.
Hit about $1.5 million. Very, very impressive debut. Cantering home. Could not have been more impressive.
Coast to coast in the American Pharaoh. He's the real deal.
Undefeated and unchallenged at 2.
He's just too good. He wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Corniche.
NetJets is more. And with NetJets, you get more. More exceptional service. Heightened safety standards. And anytime access to where you're needed most. Do more and miss less with NetJets.
In this sport, it takes just one special horse and a lot of people that believe in him. By Champion Arrogant from the family of Broodmare of the Year, Better Than Honor, rose to prominence in the Grade 3 Peter Pan, displayed power in the Grade 1 Belmont, cemented his 3-year-old championship in the Grade 1 Travers, defeating a champion 2-year-old, Kentucky Derby, and Preakness winners.
And the Eclipse Award goes to Arcangelo.
Arcangelo, standing at Lane's End.
Douglas trusts Prevagen for his brain, and this is his story.
I'm Douglas, and I'm from Chicago. I was looking for something specifically for my brain.
That's when I chose Prevagen. And the confidence I've received from Prevagen allows me to continue to do those things that I love. I have been taking Prevagen for more than 9 years, and it really works for me.
Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years.
Narrow lead over Ben Tornado. The two of them locked in battle, and Straight No Chaser joins the fray on the outside with 1 furlong to run. Ben Tornado and Straight No Chaser. These two coming down to the line together. Straight No Chaser and Ben Tornado. Straight No Chaser in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Ben Tornado was second, and then it was Mulligan.
Straight No Chaser last year in the Breeders' Cup Sprint for My Racehorse and trainer Dan Blacker and Johnny V. We asked the question to you out there, what's your favorite Breeders' Cup race? Simon said Cigar, Zenyatta, a race that he won, turf sprint with
California Flag.
California Flag. You weren't on that horse.
Huh?
I thought you were going to do a race that you won.
I did.
He was on that horse.
You weren't California Flag?
Yeah. I know, everybody forgot, Mike.
Yeah, seriously.
I thought Mick Leori was on that horse for some reason.
Now, when you introduce him tomorrow, you can introduce him as Breeders' Cup winning jockey, Joe Talamo.
Your last name's Talamo? Christina Blacker with the obvious answer, right? No contest. What a great moment. And it really was. And it was a great moment for all of us here to celebrate with our colleague Christina and her husband Dan, who's an excellent horseman. And it was great to see him have his moment. He might get another one as Straight No Chaser tries to go back to back. Take a live look out on the racetrack here as training hours got a little busy earlier, but White Abario has found a nice little space for himself to stretch the legs. Simon, what's he going to do here?
Well, first of all, I think they probably take him later in the morning just because they don't want a busy track. When you look at his workouts, I mean, it looks like he can go down there pretty quickly through a 33 and change.
Too bad, went 45 and 4.
Yeah, Gulfstream Park. So they might want to go easy, but he might be that type of horse that just does a lot in the mornings. We'll see here.
Doesn't look like he's doing too much right now.
No,
just kind of
looks very kind going off there.
He is a pretty looking gray.
Now tell me about like the biomechanics or the stride. I mean, he certainly looks different than some other horses we've seen.
Yes, like this. I'm not saying he's not fluid. He has a different way going.
He has a lot shorter stride than
shorter, choppier action,
Yeah.
and not in a bad way. Just a different gait. He doesn't have, and of course he's in his slower paces right now. But he doesn't have that kind of long, lengthy stride with a lot of fluidity into him. I mean, when you open him up and let him stretch a little bit, that'll change. But in the slower paces, yeah, just a shorter, choppy stride.
Yeah, I mean, if you would put him up to, say, sovereignty or journalism,
Right.
I mean, it's just a totally different look.
But does it make a difference? I mean, we glow over those long strides. Oh, look how he reaches out and gets the ground and whatnot. So on the reverse, is it worse that it's a choppy stride, or does it in general make a difference?
No. You know, and Simon makes a really good point, too. Some horses, not all of them, and I've worked and ridden many like that, the slower they go, it looks a lot, their stride just isn't as long, but then once you break off from the pole or go quicker, then it really gets a lot longer.
White Abario, he was a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, and he's going for a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile now.
I mean, he's just picking his legs up 6 inches off the ground and putting them down, you know?
Yeah, this is a really good look at it.
Yeah.
He is a striking animal, though. I mean, he's almost white, right? He's a gray, and is named White Abario, so clearly the coloration, some gray horses are nearly black when they're born, and they just turn gray gradually. Some of them have quite a bit more. But White Abario is a silvery gray.
It's going to be interesting going to miles. So he's a 10-time winner, but he's only won one race going 1 mile. So he's cutting back from 1.25 miles where he was 5th in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. But I mean, he's a horse though, Simon. If he brings his A game, I mean, he's won the Classic already, and I mean, he's definitely going to have to go back to a performance like that. But very, very capable.
As he is making his way around the racetrack, White Abario. I still feel like he has that fastball. I don't know if he's throwing 100 anymore, but he's definitely still throwing 97, 98. It's not like he's lost that much of a step.
Yeah, I mean, 2 races back in the Whitney, I mean, he was 4th, but he ran 103 buyer.
We are getting ready to roll out another commercial timeout. When we return here, We're going to check in with Sovereignty, the Derby Belmont Travers winner, see how he's recovering after his most recent work yesterday, and we'll have more from the Breakfast Marquee after this.
Longines. Elegance is an attitude.
Calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires.
Come and join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with the weekly bonus back, our thrills are filled up to the brim.
So we're calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires. Calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires. Calling all.
Calling all Trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote its new MySpend tool. MySpend makes it easy to view your deposit and bet history all in one place. Because betting without knowing how much you're spending is like shooting in the dark. See the whole picture. Make FanDuel's MySpend tool part of your system and stop shooting in the dark.
FanDuel's Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup is presented by WinStar Farm and by Phasic Tipton.
Juvenile Fillies Turf Contender Time to Dream approaching the starting gate under exercise rider Nora McCormack. And as we spoke to Todd earlier, he said she is just a professional filly, very laid back in general. And this is kind of just part of Todd's race week routine. A couple days out before the race, he takes his horses to stand, just gives them a little bit of a reminder. And obviously something very important with such large field sizes as the Breeders' Cup, especially if you draw towards the inside. It's absolutely pertinent that you take your horses to stand, give them a little reminder so that they stay focused in the gate even when other horses jostle around. Racehorses are often rearing to go. They're excited to go race. It's like a track runner who runs track and field. When you get on those starting blocks, you are excited and you're waiting for that gun to go off. Same as racehorses, but you got to teach them to focus on their own stall, not what's going around them. You know, you would never want an instance where they break through the front of the gate or they get too excited and they jump up, etc., because they are ready to go. But we see Tommy Joe, Juvenile Contender, under Hector, approaching the starting gate here. And as Todd said, two very different fillies. Time to Dream, very relaxed, very, very chill, laid back. And Tommy Joe, obviously all class, but definitely more on the muscle, more on the bridle. But they're both going to stand here. And so far, both very well behaved.
I mean, that's just, it's surreal. You've got like the sea coming over, the sea foam splashing up, and I mean, that's just, clearly I can't even open my mouth. It's breathtaking. It's such an amazing venue that we get to be here. And we're spoiled because we're here every day, but when the Breeders' Cup here, it's magical.
And you call it work.
Yeah. Right. Hey, man. I'm putting in my 3 hours in a row this morning.
That's why my people want to come here. You want to be in Newmarket
right.
this time of the year? No, thanks.
What are your people? English
Yes,
people?
English people.
Okay. At any rate, let's check in with Kate and Bradar.
With Sheree Dvau, I actually followed Vava back from the racetrack, and you as well, we were a little bit behind, and it looked like, and I wasn't spying, that you were watching the show. So did we do all right in terms of...
You know what? I was actually watching the jockey cam on Enrique, so I was just making sure that he was doing okay, because we can't have him embarrassing us. No, I'm just totally kidding. I'm not a jerk.
What about the jockey cam and what you saw, and also what you saw yourself?
You know, she comes here, she's nice and relaxed, she's doing everything she's supposed to do. You know, all the hard work is done, and we just want to make sure that they're here, they're happy. Their trip was delayed a few hours, and that can be a bit concerning because they had to sit on the plane for about 4+ hours, and you know, so mainly we just want to make sure that that didn't stress them out too much. You know, the 3 that were on there, and she was happy and she looks great.
I think it stresses out the people a lot more than sometimes it does the horses when all is said and done. But never good to have a wrinkle going forward. She feels pretty. How does she feel?
She feels wonderful and probably pretty.
What did she do this morning?
She feels pretty. She galloped a 1 3/8, which is a routine gallop for her.
And Rebel Red, I imagine you get a lot of questions about this one because of his condition.
Correct. You know, it's something that I think it's a horse-by-horse basis, but for him, really hasn't changed his life at all. And he's had a lot of excuses to want to regress or really to not want to do this. And, you know, he doesn't show that. You know, he took a tumble at Churchill and came right back and won a race by open lengths, won a stake by open lengths. And, you know, he's just... I think we overthink it more than he overthinks it, but that's not the case for a lot of horses.
Explain, for those who might not be familiar, what it is for him.
Okay, so he had an injury to his eye where he was getting tacked up and something spooked him, and when he bolted backwards, the screw eye came out and it landed in his eye, and there was no saving the eye, and so they took it out, and it's only a 2-week recovery. Now, wow. You know, the alternative is to save the eye, but that creates its own challenges. In this case, it wasn't an option, but if they have a traumatic injury, something like that, then they see a lot of shadows. They have a blind spot, and that can be worse, I think, in a lot of cases because they spook a lot and it can be dangerous, and I've had that before. So what was really miraculous is he started the Saratoga meet off with 2 eyes, and he won, and then he ran in a stake at the end of the meet with 1 eye, and it wasn't his best race, but it was just really to get him to see if he could figure it out, and then he came back after that race and won at Keeneland. So he's just incredible in having to deal with all that and to adjust his life for his, you know, different condition, but really he was fine, and we were really cautious about getting him back to the track and making sure he had company or somebody to follow, and he doesn't really care about anything.
Sheree, I know you have a lot of experience bringing back horses from situations like that. You also have a lot of experience coming to the Breeders' Cup, but is this year a little different since you come back having won one last year?
100%. I've had a couple people comment that I'm a lot more relaxed, which maybe I'm just playing it off better. But with that being said, these races are not easy to win. Any race isn't easy to win. A lot of things have to go right. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to have won with More Than Looks last year, and to have all 3 of my horses are exciting, but when you come in with a filly like She Feels Pretty, it just gives you a lot of confidence that even if she doesn't win, she's going to run her race and she's going to try.
We appreciate your time and wish you good trips the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
Sheree Dvau with 3 Breeders' Cup runners, and with She Feels Pretty, I can say I think we all feel pretty right now being here at Del Mar.
Well, we are all pretty. maybe not Simon, but all of us are really pretty. I will say this, Sheree Dvau, she might be my favorite trainer in the country right now. I'm so impressed with her horses. They always bring their A game. She is successful with any type of animal, and I can't be more impressed by what she does year in and year out.
Yeah, no, we talk about it all week, really. I mean, ever since going out on her own each and every year, she's eclipsed herself in earnings and wins, and I mean, the stable she has now, it just seems to keep getting better and better.
And it's one thing, I think people like to detract from her success, be like, well, she has David Ngordo as her husband. He's one of the great bloodstock agents of all time, and he brings all these great fine, you got the horses. You got to train them. You got to place them. You got to win. It's
still have to win.
Like the same thing we were saying with Aiden O'Brien. That's all well and good, but you have to win.
Yeah, that's what the name of the game. You got to win at all costs. That ever since percentages back like 20 years ago in the racing form, that's all the trainers worried about is that percentage, that win percentage next to their name.
Yeah. 99% of trainers, and they'll say the only advertising we have is our win percentage in the daily racing form. But her win percentage, I swear it goes up in graded stakes. I mean, every day when she has one in, they're live as live can be. Here's a nice turf sprinter on the racetrack. I can tell by the color of the saddle towel.
Bear River, right?
Bear River, yes.
Keith DeSormo, coming off back-to-back wins. Has paid box course, too, every time. Was 19-1 last time. Winning the turf sprint at Kentucky Downs. Then at Ellis Park, winning the Kentucky Downs preview, was 17-1. And he's making a really good impression. Keith DeSormo, Kent DeSormo's brother, very, very good horseman. His horses always look so good. Their coats are always really shiny. And he's coming into this race in the best form he's ever been.
Built like a tank. You can see that's why he's excelled at the sprint distances. And you're right. His horses, he's not buying $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 yearlings. This is a Preakness winning trainer, right? With Exaggerator. He knows what he's doing.
They paid $50 for this horse,
yeah.
huh?
Yep, and he does a great job developing horses. And they always, to Joe's point, they always turned out well. A horse will tell you how they're doing on the inside by how they look on the outside. And his horses always look great.
It's a real nice horse. And back to that old adage, beware the sharp horse on the way up. This 4-year-old is running as well as he ever has in his career, and he's coming in sharp. By the way, trivia question. What major U.S. racetrack is built in the bank of the Bear River, in the Bear River Valley?
Where is the Bear River Valley?
That would give it away. To Wyoming Downs, by the way. Right now, we have some breaking news. Let's check in with our reporter, Scott Hazelton.
He had a mild fever. He seemed to be doing very well otherwise. If we didn't have a thermometer, we wouldn't have known anything. But he had a slightly elevated temperature, and that remained through the night. This morning at 5 o'clock, and when we got here, 5:30, he still had a slight fever. He had had no medication at all, so we have drawn blood, and so we've taken blood samples, and we'll have the results. Part of the blood samples have come back, and part of the blood samples are pending. Since then, since 6 o'clock this morning, we gave him some medication to help with the fever, to help alleviate the fever, which his temperature is down to normal right now. He's eating everything. He looks fine. You saw him with his head out. He's eaten all his grain. He's not missed a note. He has not missed any feed all year long. I can say that. And last night and this morning was no exception. He seems to be sharp. You saw him looking out over the webbing. He looks fine. But right now, as of right now, there's a possibility that he won't make the race on Saturday. If we don't feel like he's 100%, he's not going to run. I'd like to give myself 10% wiggle room to monitor him for obviously the next 4 or 5 days, but until tomorrow, I think it's very important what happens throughout the day and over the night. And if his temperature remains normal, which it is right now, if it remains normal throughout the day and the night, and we look at him tomorrow and he's still eating and he looks good and the blood work comes back with a positive look to it, you know, we're going to reevaluate. We're going to reevaluate every day and probably several times every day. But right now, I just want everybody to know.
With your wealth of experience through the years, Bill, is there anything that you could attribute this to, or is it's something that will never be known?
This is something. This is the one thing that you can't control. It's just out of control. You know, I don't know whether it's a little viral deal, but we don't have any control over this. I mean, we can make a lot of mistakes and we can prevent a lot, and we can involve ourselves in a lot of situations, but there's nothing that there's no way to prevent this. I mean, we brought him, naturally. He's come out of a barn that's had no problems, and we've gone into a barn that hasn't had any horses in it. I don't know. I can't. I don't have any explanation for it. I'm not smart enough to know. I don't have the knowledge to know where they could contract this or how it happens.
And with the timing of it, with it being Tuesday, you talked about obviously continued monitoring, testing, things of that nature. In the next few days, just to reiterate, how do you see this decision being played out? Is there an end point in the next couple of days that a decision has to be made, or what do you expect?
If his temperature becomes elevated again, it's over. Now he's got medication in him now, and that'll probably last throughout the day. And it's like giving yourself an aspirin, taking an aspirin to get a fever down. But if he respikes any sort of fever, I think we're committed to saying that we're just going to bypass everything.
But if everything go back to normal.
Okay, so breaking news there. Sovereignty has a fever. They haven't withdrawn from the race yet. The next 24, 48, 72 hours, very critical. Simon, you've been in situations with horses spiking fevers.
Yep. Sometimes
it's just a little shipping fever. It goes away. What is the likelihood that this is nothing, and what is the likelihood it's something? And could it just be, hey, he spiked the temperature because of whatever reason and he's fine now?
All of the above. I mean, you just don't know. It's rare. Usually you get these fevers in younger horses. You don't see it in an older, established horse like that. But, when horses mature and develop and become 3-year-olds, then it's usually a shipping fever, like horses getting on a plane, being in a new environment with other horses. And the next 24, tomorrow morning is key. If he has a fever tomorrow morning, then he's not out. And like Bill said, they gave him some medication. It's like taking a Tylenol or an aspirin. It'll bring the fever down automatically. But in the morning when they check it, it needs to be down. And I mean, the good thing is that he's eating his feed and everything. But to underscore the point, this is why trainers check horses. If you didn't put a thermometer in that horse, no one would have a clue.
Right.
Because he's eating. The first sign of a horse that doesn't look good, being a horse trainer, you've just got to have a photographic memory. So you've got to remember what a horse does each and every day, their body language. If there's changes in that, they're signaling something's off. If they come out of the stall every day and they want to rear up, one day they don't, sure enough, I guarantee you the next day they'll have a fever or something like that. Just little things like that. Or if they don't eat. But that's why these trainers, they put thermometers in the morning, in afternoon feed time, and in the morning before they train. And that's the reason behind it. Otherwise, you could get seriously fooled and maybe run a horse with a fever. So the blood work's going to tell a lot as well. They'll be looking at the white count, see if he's got an infection. It could be just a viral infection, no bacterial infection, which you can't, like a human, you can't treat
do anything about. Yeah.
Antibiotics. You've just got to let it run its course. But that is just, I mean, you talk about unfortunate timing. We had it with. Was it? I think one of Richard Mandela's good horses had the same thing. It might have been Beholder one year. I think Beholder one year had.
Well, Beholder, what it was it was Rock Hard 10. It happened once.
Yeah.
Right before the Classic. Beholder, it was before the Classic, but that was because they scoped her after
she was a little dirty.
And yeah, it was a little bit dirty. And, you know, I had a number of people saying, you know, Richard Mandela is one of like the 5% trainers that wouldn't do that. But that's why she was good from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, right? Because he manages a whole campaign. And it was one of those things that, yeah, I mean, some other trainers may have decided to run with that. This is a situation where everything has to go right from here. There's no, this is the setback. Every step here has to go right for him to make the starting gate.
Tomorrow morning, if that temperature's elevated, he won't run. That's exactly right. And, you know, you're monitoring for it. It will be an easy decision. Say he had a little cough go along with it, coughed once or twice after exercise, then that's when you would put the scope in, and yeah, it would be a no-go. But, you know, sometimes you can have a fever that'll just spike for a couple of days. I mean, in you know, for the good fortune of Bill right now, at least it's far enough out.
Right.
If it is going the right way, you've still got time to kind of.
The rest of the blood has to come back clean. He has to not spike a fever. He has to not show any signs of being, you know, not 100% himself. There's a lot of boxes that need to be checked now for him to make the gate. And if he doesn't check even one of them, that's it.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Thank you to Bill Mott for being so forthright and letting us know. Sometimes, look, you're under duress trying to get to the race. You just want to keep everything under wraps. But it was very nice of him to be forthright with the media and let us know as it happened.
I think you have to, just because in an environment like this, at some point the word gets out.
Yeah.
And that, you know,
on the racetrack?
Yeah. Inadvertently. So, I mean, the best offense is a defense, right? Not that he's the best. Just put it all out there. This is where we're at.
Well, selfishly, we all want the horse to run because we could be on the cusp of seeing an all-time Breeders' Cup Classic, and without sovereignty in it, that takes a lot out.
And to your point, Simon, you would have no clue unless they would have put a thermometer. And I mean, look when he was walking here, yesterday and the day before, an absolute picture of health. It just goes to show with new environments. I mean, obviously the weather's a lot different here in Delmar than it is back east. You just never know.
You just don't know. And, you know, at least they have they take the temperatures every day, twice a day, so they have a good line on him. But yeah, this was him yesterday, and I mean, you know, I always say, Mike, what do I always say? What's the most important part of our work?
The day after.
Yeah.
And the day after, we have some breaking news on sovereignty, spiking a little bit of a fever. He's taken a medication to help with the fever that will, you know, bring the temperature down today. But when that medication wears off, we have to see if the fever comes back tomorrow.
See, because why it plays out like this, it's kind of like humans. He worked yesterday. That little bit of exercise might have just elevated. It's like sending a kid to school where you think he might be sick, you're not sure, but he spends a day running around and playing.
Yeah.
Boom, fever. It's just that little bit of exercise. And that's a good thing, because when you work a horse like it brings it out. You want it to. A lot of how many times have we seen horses run up the track and then all of a sudden they come out of the race with a fever, and the trainer didn't know because you know, it was right on top of the race and it wasn't exposed until they exerted themselves.
I mean, this horse, he is such a magnificent talent. He's accomplished so much trying to make history. It would be such a shame if he could not make the gate. So we're on Sovereignty Watch officially throughout the breakfast shows. Right now, let's change direction and check in with Michelle Yu.
Joined right now by John Kitt, the Chief Operating Officer of the Breeders' Cup. And we are here in the merchandise tent, one of my favorite places to be. But there's a reason behind that. Can you tell us a little bit about the expanded Breeders' Cup Charities program for this year?
Sure. We're very excited. We've really revamped the whole program. And the biggest driver is all royalties from all the sales from the merchandise pavilion, from the boutiques throughout, from the other pavilion in the infield is all being donated to charity. And for our charity, we've picked 5 pillars, which include aftercare, it includes jockey health and wellness, it includes backstretch workers and industry workers, also equine research, and also we're trying to give to local projects that really make an impact.
I love that. So, I mean, when you're shopping, we're able to give back as well. Champions give back is kind of the motto you guys are using. What does that mean?
Yeah, for the merchandise, we're calling it Purchase with a Purpose, and also we have the Champions Give Back. We've been doing this since October 1st. It'll go through, if you go to breederscupcharities.com, you'll be able to give, contribute whatever works. We have a wonderful donor, Ken Freerich, who's agreed to double everything up to 50,000. We're already well on our way to meet that. So everything you give has a double impact for that. And we're really hoping people will step up. This is really all about the sport that we all love, and we're just trying to make as much of an impact as we can.
So on the way to 50,000, they're already over $10,000 into that currently. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the American Pharaoh pin. I believe you have one. Yes. Not for me. You notice he's keeping it on himself. Tell me about the pin.
So we decided to do this. We worked with Coolmore and the connections with American Pharaoh. It's 10 years since he won the Classic and won the Triple Crown. I was lucky enough to be there both at Belmont and at Keeneland. And so we've struck 2,500, and that's all we'll have. And they're $10, and every dollar goes to the charity. So we hope people will come by, purchase it. It's a keepsake. We're going to think about doing this on a regular basis with different things. So it's kind of a fun thing, but it's also another way to give back to our charity.
I love that. We really appreciate the Breeders' Cup and all of the efforts that they're making. And I'm going to have to go buy myself one of these American Pharaoh pins, guys. They're only $10, and again, 100% of that goes to charity. And when you're shopping, all those royalties, we're trying to give back to all the great things in our industry.
Yes, purchase with a purpose. As the 5 core pillars: Thoroughbred Aftercare, Jockey Health and Wellness, Backstretch and Industry Work, Equine Research, and other impactful community initiatives. $1 from every Breeders' Cup cocktail, that's the Tory Cup featuring Maker's Mark Bourbon and the Garland featuring Chopin Vodka, will be donated to Breeders' Cup charities. You can also support Champions Give Back by texting BCWC to the number on screen. And don't forget, owner Ken Fryrick, part of the owners of Sandman, he has made so many charitable donations. He is a philanthropist, and he is matching your donations up to $50,000. So make your donations count double, as we've just got a few days left for that match from Ken Fryrick. We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll have more on this international affair here at Del Mar as the Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup shows continue.
You might take something for your heart. You might get support for your joints, or even use something for your digestion. So why wouldn't you take something for the most important part of you? Your brain. People all over the country take Prevagen for their brain. In fact, Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years. The most important supplement for the most important part of you. Try Prevagen for your brain today.
Calling all, trillionaires, calling all, trillionaires.
Come and join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with the weekly bonus back, our thrills are filled up to the brim. Can you thrill me?
Yeah, because this will be like the most amount of pure glee that ya ever gonna get from rewards that start day one. So we're calling all,
trillionaires, calling all. Trillionaires, calling all, trillionaires,
Calling all trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's post time for the Whitney. The field turns for home. Fierceness is the one to catch. He has a 3-length lead. Sierra Leone down the center of the track is coming with powerful strides. And Highland Falls is in there too. But it's Sierra Leone who takes the lead from Alaska first. Highland Falls trying his best. Sierra Leone has won the Whitney.
Gun runners on top of the world.
Well, it's always great to spend a little bit of time with Charlie. I'll be talking about his horses for the Breeders' Cup. And Charlie, you have a select team this year. I'll spin through them one by one. But first of all, can I just ask how they all travelled over? Are they settled in as well as you want?
Yeah, no, travelled in great. Obviously, I just got in last night, saw them first time this morning. A team were here and happy the way they settled in quarantine and come out of quarantine. I saw them first thing this morning. They look great. So they've shipped well. They've done all the vitals are good. Let's start with Military Code in the juvenile turf. He's a horse that he's got a bit to find on the book. We've been lucky with the draw there, as long as I say, it's all very well having these draws, as long as you can use them. So it's no good having a stall 2 and coming out last. But he's a horse that just reminds me at home very much of like a Mischief Magic, who, again, wasn't really on page good enough to win a juvenile sprint, but I just felt the run style could just suit him, and I think he's a similar type of horse. You know, like the more trouble he's in round there, the better, as long as he can just find the gaps late on.
Now, Notable Speech is seen by many as one of the best chances for Europe in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He's a horse who's had a bit of experience in Canada now, and he comes here off a lighter season this year in comparison to when he came here last year. How important is that for him?
First of all, yeah, like I say, he started off his 3-year-old campaign as an unraced 2-year-old. You know, he went from running in January right through to obviously November here. So yes, he had a long campaign, and as much as we were happy with the way the horse came over here last year, I just felt that he hadn't got the experience that was needed against taking on the older horses on this track. Obviously, this season has been one of those sort of seasons that have been a bit frustrating with him. He probably could have pinched 1 or 2 more. But anyway, put that behind us. Was very keen to go to Woodbine, especially being on the inner track there. So you know, he went there and did what we expected, and but most importantly, I say, just gave him a little freshener of those turns, and so therefore he comes here. He's drawn well again. As long as we can utilise that draw, and I feel he'll be a big player.
I just want to ask you one question about him, and I say this as a fan of the horse. As we step out the way, you might recognise the horses behind you.
I wish I didn't.
The thing I wanted to ask you about Notable Speech was about getting out of the gates. Now, I think if he has a clean run and no trouble, he's good enough to win. But the one issue I have worried about him is he can be sluggish. He was sluggish at coming out the gates in the race last year here at Del Mar and also at Woodbine. Is that a concern for you at all and for William?
Yeah, of course it is, yes, for sure. And it's one of those things, you know, he's getting a bit long in the tooth now to a level to start sort of trying to teach him more and more gate speed. But the one thing with him is how well he travels, and so therefore, you know, when he does land, it's not like he lands and Will's going to have to be trying to push him along to try and get a position. You know, when he lands, he'll travel, so that will allow William to hopefully find some gaps so he can get himself into a posse where hopefully coming off that last turn that we've got ourselves a bit of a run in or something to run at and a bit of room to run with as well.
Yeah. With a clear run, you think he wins?
Look, I think he's, as you say, he's one of the class horses in the race. He's got experience. He's a past Guineas winner. Yes, of course, he comes here as hopefully one of our big hopefuls.
But he might not be your favourite horse in your team, because the next race we'll talk about is the Breeders' Cup Turf, where you've got El Cordobés, but primarily you've got the Great Rebels Romance. How's he, and what do you think of his chances up against Minihawk?
Yeah, look, he's in great form. He's a horse that hopefully when we're his age, we've still got the same enthusiasm to get up in the morning.
I'm already his age.
But yeah, as we've seen out on the track just now, you know, he dragged Mark Brown. He says he feels great. He's done everything as always coming into this meeting, you know, being pitch perfect. You know, of course, yes, he's the old boy in amongst them, and I've always sort of said there's going to be younger legs, unfortunately, are going to sort of take his title going forward. But what he's got you know, over those horses is experience, and you can't beat that round here. We pitched in one, that doesn't worry me. Really, I was one of those, you know, people were sending me the draws through when I landed yesterday, and when it came to that race, I was relaxed. I wasn't too worried. I mean, of course, it's a 1.5 miles. I've said all that, and we'll probably end up getting boxed in, not get a run. But I mean, look, he's a horse that.
Could Will try and make the running on him?
I leave that entirely up to Will. You know, there's one horse I don't give him instructions with, and that's well, I try not to give him too many instructions as it is, because, like I say, once they're on their backs and those gates open, it's you know, every man for themselves, and so it's no good me tying William down to instructions. But he could make the run in. If there's a gallop on, which I can see, he could just hopefully sit box seat. But look, more importantly, he's here. The racing public love him. We love him, obviously, and you know, he's enjoying it. And so therefore, I do feel he's going to put up you know, put it to him anyway. They know they've had a race once they've got past him.
El Cordobés has improved enormously this season, having sort of started off in handicaps back in Dubai.
Yeah, he's a horse that we'd always sort of liked, but he was a bit disappointing in the early part of his career for us. But physically, he's done well. What he's gained in experience, obviously at Saratoga and Aqueduct, again, it pays round here, especially at this meeting. You know, he might not be the best horse in the race, but he can get around those turns and he loves quick ground. So you know, he's ticked that box a couple of times now. Again, like I say, I feel that there'll be pace on in the race. He's a horse that probably is better coming from off the pace. And young Billy's on board, and hopefully he'll give him a good spin round there.
You've got Billy in action as well, with William on the 2 fillies in the filly and mare turf. It's a little bit like the female version of David and Goliath, you know, Cinderella's Dream, and then the huge Diamond Rain. And I must admit, watching Diamond Rain run earlier in the season at Haydock, I did not think I would see her ending up at Del Mar to run in a race at the Breeders' Cup.
Well, yeah, we've got to watch it yet and see how we get on. But look, like you say, they're 2 interesting fillies. When you see them walk out of the barn together, like I say, it's a David and Goliath sort of scenario. But firstly, Cinderella's Dream. Again, she comes here in great form. I don't think she's been any better in respects to her well-being and physically. You know, okay, people might have been a bit disappointed on that last run there at Newmarket, but it was on slow ground. It was like a mile, which we always know is a minimum trip, taking on some proper milers. But more importantly, the way she came out of the race, you know, she really was one of those fillies, because she's so valuable to us in the barns there when she does retire there, that, you know, had she have not shown us what she's shown us, she wouldn't have been coming here. But couldn't have been any happier with her. And again, she takes so much experience into the race on these tracks that you'd be very confident that she's going to run a big race. Diamond Rain, on the other hand, like I say, she's a big old girl there. She blew the turn really at Woodbine, and that was on the outer track. So yeah, people did sort of raise their eyebrows when I said, look, we'll have a crack at it with her. We've done a little bit of schooling at home there on a tightish track. The one thing she's done is she has sharpened up. Mentally, she's sharpened up. Now, it's going to be, you know, she's going to have to be on her A game and sort of hopefully hit the lids well enough that she can land and give herself a chance early doors to sort of just get into the race. But if she sort of gets into a nice rhythm round there and from sort of the last from halfway, she'll run a race, because she will stay and she'll hit the line strong.
Can I ask you finally, sort of a 2-part question? One horse that you think will win for you, and one horse that you want to win the most out of all the team, which I think I might know the answer to.
Yeah, obviously, the win the most is obviously Rebels. It'll be great for him, but first and foremost, great for ourselves and Iron Sheikh Mohammed and Team Godolphin. And I think Breeders' Cup will enjoy it, you know. He'll have history, but more importantly, like I say, he's one of those horses which we don't see a lot in flat racing. Has gained a bit of a fanfare behind him, which is, you know, well deserved. Winner-wise, I'm a big fan of Cinderella's Dream at the moment, but we'll see.
Charlie, as always, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Richie, thanks ever so much.
Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Bye, buddy.
Charlie Applebee is just a tremendous trainer, and he comes to the U.S. You saw that. I mean, 41% in Breeders' Cup races. When he brings them over the Atlantic, man, they are live as live can be.
I mean, 41% in the toughest races in the world. That's almost
obscene.
Yeah, it almost doesn't seem real.
It doesn't, but we've seen it with our own 2 eyes, so we know it is. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to talk about Tumbarumba, the horse, and the connections as Brian Lynch and his wife have a battle that they're fighting off the track as well. More from the breakfast shows after this.
Elegance is an attitude.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least insulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the seat view feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.
A John Deere 3 Series tractor lets you tackle those bigger jobs with simple, intuitive controls that put the power in your hands and quick connect solutions to swap implements quickly with ease. From rotary cutter to rotary tiller to front loader. Take on all your property's biggest challenges. You just have to get in the seat. John Deere is the official partner of the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
They come for home and California flag's going away from them. California flag opens up. Can he keep going now? Delta Storm coming home gamely. Cannonball down the center of the track. Got to have her running late, but it's all California flag. California flag. Joe Talamo in the ride of his life, in the race of his life. California flag has won it.
That's this guy, Mike. He won a Breeders' Cup
Are you sure
race.
that's not Migliore? I think Trevor got that call wrong. You sure about that? I was thinking.
How
Desert
great was
Code.
that? And you must, and even Trevor mentioning your name right before the wire, right? That's got to be.
I still get goosebumps watching that all those years ago. I think Mike Smith summed it up the best a couple days ago when Michelle Yu was interviewing him. You truly don't get that feeling again until you win. He said you wish you could bottle it up to feel it, and there's no other feeling like that in the world.
And he's still got every penny of the purse money he got that day. Still got it.
Well, a little
And
more with interest.
Just wait until you see his crypto portfolio. It's not doing as well as you think, Simon.
Yours either.
I know. We're crypto hundredaires. Let's take a look at your favorite Breeders' Cup race ever. Joaquin with the 87 Breeders' Cup Classic. I think he was 1 year old at that time. The 95 Classic with Cigar. Joe Talamo apparently rode that race in 2009. And then, of course, I was just there watching Zenyatta like everybody else at Santa Anita. Rick Newton, the 2001 Breeders' Cup Classic.
A good one.
Yeah, that was.
There are two races that I can watch that will literally make me well up. Tis Now Wins It for America. That'll bring a tear to your eye.
That race call at the end, yeah, for sure.
How about this? Great communicator in the 88 Turf. Well, now that we're going to the Wayback Machine.
Race of Bill.
Fat Ackle.
And Fat Ackle, yeah.
Yeah, my old boss, Henry Cecil, had Indian Skimmer in there, who was the heavy favorite and just got an awful ride. And great communicator came and got the job done. Yeah, there it is in the tweet. I wasn't reading the tweet.
That's great.
Proves I wasn't lying.
How about this one? Yeah, no, I got a lot of ties in my head, too. Beholder's Distaff versus Songbird was amazing. The Classic with American Pharaoh when he put up a brilliant performance. Zenyatta's Classic win. For when I was too young, actually, Sunday Silence. Yeah, Sunday Silence Classic. Is that Joaquin's? No, that's not. Joaquin always talks about Sunday Silence. But the 92 Classic won by my favorite horse of all time, AP Indy.
AP Indy, yeah. Eddie D.
Neil Drysdale. And the Breeders' Cup Classic. Trevor Demon's call of Zenyatta coming out of the clouds was unbelievable. Such great memories, and we're making some memories this weekend as well, as the Breeders' Cup is right in front of us. Let's check in with Michelle Yu.
I was told that Andy's not allowed around Todd Pletcher anymore since she gave you the big old jinx yesterday.
Me big time.
All right, bring me back to last night. I'll set the scene. There's 2 horses left to draw. There's the 1 and the 6 hole. Go from there.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a 50-50 ball at that time, and I knew it was 99 to 1. Look, I think Rapoli summed it up best. He's undefeated from the 1 hole at Del Mar, so we'll go with that.
Is there any additional schooling that you're going to do to help avoid what happened in the Pacific Classic?
You know, I was actually over at the gate earlier this morning, kind of looking at the layout, and you know, I think it was just a one-time thing. So I want to be careful not to overthink it. We're going to school him like we normally would, but we'll probably just go across the chute there and make sure he gallops across there straight. But like I said, I don't think it's anything that we need to overthink. I think Johnny will obviously be prepared for it a little differently this time. Maybe consider having a stick in his left hand and, something like that. But as far as, like, really doing a bunch of gate schooling or breaking him or doing something, I don't think we want to do that.
I just recommend walking him down past the gap like 10 times.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make sure he goes straight across the gap. And I think they said the temporary rail is going to be extended a little bit. So, maybe that'll help as well.
Is that an instance that's happened to you in any other grade 1 that you can think of?
Not in a grade 1. I don't recall that. I know that we had a maiden years ago that literally took a left coming out of there and a U-turn left. But I mean, we see it all the time. Horses break and they move towards open space, and I just think he thought that was the direction he was supposed to go.
You've had some eventful races this year. I feel like Mindframe is coming in now under the radar a little bit. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone just doesn't know how to assess, the Jockey Club and what that does for him moving forward. And so, yeah, he hasn't truly run a race since the Stephen Foster. So I think a little bit of oversight because of that.
Mentally, how did he come out of that?
He came out of it well. Yeah, it was pretty scary watching as it happened. I was really concerned about when he got to the quarter pole, what he was going to do, because that's where he goes on and off the track every morning to train, and a lot of times loose horses will look to go the same way home that they do in their training, and thankfully he galloped by there and without incident, and so we were fortunate that he was unscathed.
How about your baby right here? We're standing in front of Ted Noffey. He looks like he has settled in just fine. Does anything bother this guy?
He's amazing. He's shipped in here like he's a 5-year-old, and he's handled it all really well. He had a good training session this morning, went to the gate and walked right in like he's supposed to. So, he's been a model citizen.
He looks very good. I'm going to give him a pet. Hi, Ted Noffey. Don't bite me. Yay. Oh, success, guys, success.
Ted Noffey. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the juvenile. Water trucks out on the track. Yesterday we saw him putting a little sand on the track after training hours as well. So they are working on the composition. Opening day for the fall meet is Thursday. And then, of course, the Breeders' Cup Friday, Saturday, and racing again here on Sunday.
Yeah, going to be jam-packed. I just cannot wait for the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, the lineup looks great. I mean, obviously, the sovereignty news is kind of taking everyone by shock a little bit, because it does. It takes a major chunk of the luster of the Classic out of there. I mean, and I think as a competitor, I know probably some of them are like, oh, I don't want to run against him, but
you do want to run against him. Yeah, I'm sorry. The competitive spirit is strong. The competitive spirit for Brian Lynch has been there since the beginning, as you see his charge Tumbarumba, who's going in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But for Brian Lynch and his wife, it's more than just racing that they've been concerned with recently, as they have had their battles off the track as well.
Tumbarumba determined. Tumbarumba heads bobbing on the wire. Photo for the win.
Tumbarumba has gained the lead in deep stretch, and he's the winner.
The Tumbarumba come out of the first crop of Oscar performances. He's a beautiful big colt. He's got a lovely walk to him. He always showed plenty of potential.
He's at love in his stall. He just wants attention. He just wants peppermints. He just wants someone to be around him and to be his buddy.
Tumbarumba's performance in the ACAC, I thought, was as game as it came, and that day he took it.
Tumbarumba once again running his heart out. Tumbarumba!
Lovely to see him come round as a 5-year-old. Listen, I think we're on to the Breeders' Cup.
Having Tumbarumba in the barn has definitely helped me this last year. Right around the beginning of August, I was diagnosed with stage 2 triple positive invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. I was at the Churchill barn when they called me, and funny enough, we were jogging horses on the road for the vet, and the hospital called me and said, we need to talk to you about your biopsy results, and I told them to call me back in 30 minutes because I was busy working. Like a typical horse girl, I put those horses first, and I made sure we got done with what we had to do before I dealt with that. And they called me back, and sure enough, it was not what I was expecting. It's not what anyone wants to hear. I called Brian right away and told him.
When the news come, it was a matter of getting strong and staying strong for her and getting up every day and just trying to make it happen.
Pretty quickly after that, they were putting a port in to start chemo. I did 15 rounds of chemo total, and I had a double mastectomy, and I really haven't been around the barn much.
You know, me and her built this operation, so she's always been an intricate part of it, and she's the backbone of it. It's just a wonderful connection between the barn staff, and, you know, because a lot of these guys have been with us for years and years, and, you know, Erin's there every day, and then she's not. Woo! They're asking, where is she? Where's the Patrona? You've got to sort of stay strong for them, and through the horses, you find strength, and you kick, and you show up every day and give it your best. Erin's favourite would definitely be Tumbarumba. She's always had a sentimental feeling for that horse, and I think he's been a power of strength for her.
And he really is the only horse I asked about. The only horse that I made a point to get to the races to watch him run. He just puts you in a good mood.
When she's going through what she's going through, I'm not a guy that's going to come home and tell you the burdens of training thoroughbred horses, but Tumbarumba was the one horse that she sort of was always focused on.
I finally rang the bell August 6th, so I'm cancer-free.
Erin's strength through all the treatments was just an inspiration. To watch them sit there, like many thousands of women that go through it, you know, the emotions they must go through, and their thought patterns, and where it's going to lead to, or is it going to get cured. But she was always very strong, and it motivated me.
Thank God for Brian. He's been my rock. He's been to every appointment, and there's been a huge community at the track that's just been extremely supportive, because that's just the way our community just comes together when they need to. I'm just so excited to go back to Del Mar, especially with Tumbarumba. Even if he doesn't win it, I know he's going to try his heart out and he's going to run his race. He's just going to make us proud.
The best part of that feature was hearing her ring the bell, and that is when they get the clean bill of health. Look, cancer is very tricky. I'm not going to pretend to know about it. Simon, you obviously do. And in the aftermath of her ringing that bell, she knows that she's not necessarily in the clear forever, but for right now, a clean bill of health as the cancer's in full remission, and that is a great place for her to be.
No question about it. And then talk about perfect timing, right? To be well and healthy, to be able to come here. So, yeah, obviously, you know, as someone who's gone through it, and you know, you go through it for the rest of your life, because you're never really cured, or you don't think you are, but every day you do worry, like when something starts to hurt or something doesn't feel right, you're like, oh, is it coming back again? But she looks great, and I'm sure she'll be, good doctors in good hands, and hopefully this horse runs well on the weekend.
I know who I'm rooting for now.
Yeah.
And to go back, that just goes to show when she got that call, she's like, I'll call you 30 minutes later. That just goes to show how important these horses are to everybody with them.
It's amazing. Like, she's getting a call to see if she has cancer. She's like, I don't have time for that. I've got horses.
Yeah, when I look at my phone, there's probably 3 people, regardless of where I'm going to pick up.
Yeah.
And the guy that's giving me my biopsy results is probably one of them.
Yeah. She's like, I got 3 horses walking right here. I got to slow down a little bit. At any rate, for Erin and Brian, clearly it's been a tumultuous and a tough year. But a win in the Breeders' Cup, boy, I mean, that would be the icing on the cake, and an emotional outburst from both of them. You could imagine that they would never forget.
Yeah, there's no medicine or drug I think you could take that to get that feeling.
We are going to take a break. When we return, we have a few more things to get to before we wrap up Breakfast Show number 5. As we are getting ready to roll, all the preparations being made for Breeders' Cup 2025 here in Del Mar.
Elegance is an attitude.
Calling all!
Calling all!
Calling all! Trillionaires!
Calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires.
Come and join a club that has rewards for everyone. I'm talking birthday perks, free daily game, and other stuff that's fun.
Designed for people who love thrills like me and her and him, and with a weekly bonus pack, our thrills are filled up to the brim. Can you thrill me?
Yeah, because this will be like the most amount of pure glee that ya ever gonna get from rewards that start day one. So we're calling all,
calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all. Calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all, calling all, trillionaires, calling all, calling all.
Calling all trillionaires. FanDuel Casino.
The rumbling started early and only intensified, with performances that sent shockwaves across the nation. At the center of it all,
Epicenter is at the top of the 3-year-old class in the Run Happy Travers.
Epicenter, 3-year-old champion by Not This Time. Coolmore, America, home of champions.
Wise Dan in the gold on the grandstand side. Let's see, Wise Dan's fully ridden now. He's trying to pick it up. They come for home. Czar Approval strikes the front. Wise Dan on the outside. Silentio, the long shot, running a big one, but Wise Dan, Silentio down at the rail. Wise Dan, Czar Approval, Silentio. Wise Dan has called on all his class.
Wise Dan, Horse of the Year, multiple winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile. We put out that question earlier today. Who was your favorite mile winner? We had him, DeHaas, obviously the great Goldakova, and Lure. Those are the multiple winners of the Breeders' Cup Mile.
That is tough. I think for me would probably be Wise Dan. He was a horse, too, could run on any surface, synthetic, turf, dirt, just an absolute iron horse.
I really believe he was the best 1.25 mile dirt horse in the country at the time, too.
That too, yeah.
They never had to go out that decision because they had successful Dan, but I think he could have taken on the best of the boys on the main track. How about Miesk broke my heart when she beat Warning, so going to say Miesk. Okay. We can go with that. DeHaas, brilliant training job.
Yeah, better comeback than Lazarus, right? Greatest comeback since Lazarus.
That was my favorite Tom Durkin call of all time. Let's check in once again with Kate and Bradar.
Saffie Joseph just getting back from the track with Holland Ice for the Filly and Mare Sprint. How's she doing?
She's doing well. She's a
on the track, she's a little nervous filly, so she goes with the pony actually at Palmadas. That's why she does so well. She kind of trains in the L, which is a European gallop. So she's quiet around the barn. On the track, she's much more intense.
Is that part of the reason? I know timing-wise is always something to work out with the tracks opening and closing, but she was out in the walking ring for quite a while before she went to the track.
Yeah, just to get her to relax. I mean, as I said, around the barn area, she's anybody could ride her, anybody could walk her, but on the track, she gets feisty.
Be your best for the filly and mare turf. How is she coming into the race?
She's doing well. She had a blowout this morning, 3/8. She went 36 and 2 out in 49 and change. Very happy with her. 11 furlongs, she's one at a distance. You could say it probably tests her stamina a bit, but the filly is as good as she can be.
When you do a shorter workout like that with a horse who's going to run a longer distance, what is the goal?
Yeah, just trying to take a little edge off her. The last couple of races, she got a little keen. I mean, she has naturally speed, but if she can just listen to the rider a bit more, it will help her see out the trip.
And finally, White Abario. I saw him a little earlier today and coming back on the walking ring. Talk about him coming into the dirt mile as opposed to some of the previous years when he's been gearing up to run a longer distance. A little bit off form, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, if the Whitney was a good run. If you go to the sheet numbers, the Whitney's as fast as most of his races. Obviously, the Jockey Club was not a good performance, but, I mean, how could he perform when your rider almost falls off? You get bumped. He had IRAD on his back for a bit. So, I mean, it is an excuse, but we feel like it's a legit excuse, and he's trained well since. The distance is fine for him, 2 turns a mile. I think that's right up his alley, and we feel like we take the best horse on the day. We respect Nysos a lot. Nysos is up and coming champ, but we feel like if we fire our race, I mean, they have to worry about us.
Appreciate your time, Seffi.
Thank you very much.
White Abario, certainly a horse that will attract a lot of attention as he tries to make a little history as a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, now trying to parlay that into a victory in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
All right, thank you very much, Kate. And so we're about to wrap up the show, but the breaking news today was Sovereignty spiking a fever. It's going to affect the Breeders' Cup Classic in a most significant way if the Morning Line favorite scratches out of there. But we're not there yet. At this point, still in a holding pattern, trying to see what his temperature does over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate circumstance for trainer Bill Martin. Those things usually come to light after a horse has done a little more exercise, like a Breeze did yesterday. Put a little more stress on the body. Those things will come to the forefront. So he's got a temperature. They've given him some medication, similar like a Tylenol, to reduce that medication. Obviously, his fever is going to be down throughout the day because of the medication. And, you know, I mean, tomorrow morning is going to be the be-all, end-all. If he's got a fever tomorrow morning, there's no way he's running. He's going to be a scratch.
And this was earlier this morning when Scott Hazelton caught up with Bill Mott.
And with the timing of it, with it being Tuesday, you talked about obviously continued monitoring, testing, things of that nature in the next few days. Just to reiterate, how do you see this decision being played out? Is there an end point in the next couple of days that a decision has to be made, or what do you expect?
If his temperature becomes elevated again, it's over. Now he's got medication in him now, and that'll probably last throughout the day. And it's like giving yourself an aspirin. Taking an aspirin to get a fever down. But if he respikes any sort of fever, I think we're committed to saying that, we're just going to bypass everything.
Straight from the trainer's mouth. So we have to see what happens, but there's a lot of boxes that need to get checked if Sovereignty is indeed going to make the gate for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad, unfortunate circumstance, really. And like we said earlier, if you're not checking these horses' temperature, you wouldn't know any different. I mean, he's eating everything, he looks good, but that's why you make these precautions. You take the temperatures, and if he's got a fever tomorrow, if he spikes today with medication in him, then there's zero chance he's going to run.
And I think for us, when we first heard it, it's so shocking because all week, whether it's Gallop and his work, even though he did it easy, he did it so nice. It's just crazy. It just goes to show you never know.
Yep. Never know what's going to happen in this game. It is a difficult game, but as Bill Mott said, that's one of the things you can't control. There's a lot of things you can. There's a lot of mistakes you can make. There's a lot of things you can prevent, but this is one of those things. It's just by the racing god's will. It happens at random. Hopefully Sovereignty will be well enough to make the gate for the Classic. That does it for Day 5 on the Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup show. We thank you for joining us, but once again, we started under the cover of darkness as the sun rose. We got a good look at journalism making his way back to the racetrack after his most recent preparations. They were out in force. Aiden's army made his way to the track. We had horses schooling in the gate. All systems go for the Breeders' Cup as we are just a few days away from the biggest festival and the most important racing in the world. Thank you for joining us here as this international event approaches. We'll see you tomorrow on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.